Chapter 33:18. Moreover, Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei knew that as long as the threat of the blood fiends and the heaven-deceiving tribe was not eliminated, they had nowhere to run. Instead of running away aimlessly, they might as well stake everything and fight to the death with the blood fiends. That way, even if they died in battle, they would die with dignity. It was better than dying while being chased. Don't be rash. Where there's life, there's hope. If you two ladies can use the teleportation portal to escape. If you see Night's Sorrow, you'll definitely have a chance of survival. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. Moreover, Madame Wu is pregnant with a child. Even if you don't think about yourself, you have to think about Night's Sorrow's child. At this level, being pregnant is definitely a gift from the heavens. You must cherish it. When the second deputy city lord heard the words of the two women, he immediately tried his best to persuade them. Deputy City Lord, you don't have to persuade them. Our friends will fight to the death. We should do the same. As for my child, if he knows my choice, he will also support me. Since Night's Sorrow started cultivating, he has been fighting to stop fighting. His child should not be afraid of the baptism of war. Wu Lingfei said in a resounding voice. Then, she took out the half-step Supreme Realm Extreme Flame Phoenix golden shuttle that Night's Sorrow had made and handed it to the second deputy city lord. This is the Extreme Flame Phoenix golden shuttle that my husband made. It's extremely fast. It can take some people away first. Deputy city lord, take it. Take some people with potential and leave first. This. What should we do? Seeing how determined Wu Lingfei was, the second deputy city lord was helpless. His and the first deputy city lord's lives were saved by Night's Sorrow. If it weren't for Night's Sorrow, they would have been trapped in the grotto heaven and died. They were actually very grateful to him. Now that Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun had chosen to fight to the death, he suddenly felt sorry for Night's Sorrow. But it was obvious that the beautiful ladies couldn't be persuaded at all. He didn't know what to do. At this time, Supreme Longevity and Old Demon Blood Fiend were locked in a fierce battle. It was not suitable for him to send a voice transmission to ask for a solution. Deputy City Lord, don't be troubled. Although we are women, we are all Earth Supremes and have good talent. We can fight. You don't have to worry. Seeing the Vice City Lord frowning, Jing Yun immediately tried to persuade him. At this moment, she glanced at the battle situation. The battle between the two sides had already reached its climax. The cultivators of the two batches led by the Supreme Longevity were already finding it harder and harder to hold on. Jing Yun was, after all, someone who had been through hundreds of battles. She was well aware of the logic of a defeated army collapsing like a landslide. She immediately turned to Wu Lingfei and said, "Big sister. Let's go and fight." There were less than 200 enemies left. If we kill one, we can reduce the pressure to a certain extent. Good. Let's go. Wu Lingfei responded and stood beside Jing Yun. She was ready to fly up into the sky and join the battle. Alas! Seeing that the two women were unable to dissuade him, the Vice City Lord sighed, since that's the case. This old man will first arrange for the evacuation of the others. If the old, weak, women, and children are left behind, the consequences will be unimaginable if the front line can't hold on. Vice City Lord, I'll leave their safety to you. Jing Yun looked at the panicked crowd and thanked the Vice City Lord. Then, she flew into the sky side by side with Wu Lingfei and joined the battlefield. She attacked one of the Blood Fiend cultivators who was fighting with Murong Junlu. Under the joint attack of the three, this Blood Fiend Heavenly Sovereign was quickly killed by Jing Yun's Extreme Flame Phoenix Golden Umbrella. Why are you guys here? Quickly run, we can't let Brother Yi down. When the battle in front of them ended, Murong Junlu immediately advised with a frown. At this time, Yuan Fengxue and Xue Changtian also looked over. Yuan Fengxue persuaded in the middle of the battle, Lingfei, you're pregnant, don't force yourself. Quickly leave with everyone. Fengxue, you don't have to persuade us. Since the two of us came, we're already prepared to die in battle. We're a team, Jing Yun, and I can't abandon you guys and leave. Wu Lingfei replied and growled, everyone, let's fight side by side. Since you guys don't want to leave, then we'll fight side by side. At this time, the myriad sword sect who had just killed a blood fiend heavenly sovereign also flew over. He glanced at Jing Yun, then at Wu Lingfei, and roared. All right. Then let's fight together. Immediately after, Xiao Tianxian, Jin Xian, and the others also gathered. They had all fought together before. Then, they used a joint attack formation together and fought with the cultivators of the Blood Fiend organization. After they used the joint attack formation, the battle with the Blood Fiend cultivators instantly became much easier. Compared to these Blood Fiend cultivators, although they were at a disadvantage in terms of cultivation, after all, each of them had a divine artifact left behind by Night Sorrow. This was enough to erase some of the differences. Oh. The addition of Yi Shang's 2 wives could actually bring about such a huge change in the battle? Supreme Longevity, who was in the middle of the battle, discovered that Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei had joined the battle and cooperated so well with the Myriad Sword sect. Using the joint attack formation, they quickly killed several Blood Fiend cultivators and immediately exclaimed in surprise. At this time, the cultivators of the 2 batches saw this scene and were immediately encouraged. Their bodies seemed to have been injected with a lot of energy, and they fought even more fiercely. How did the addition of 2 women change the battle so much? Old Demon Blood Fiend, who was fighting Supreme Longevity, noticed the sudden change in the battle and immediately looked at Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei with a frown. After observing for a while, he thought to himself, so they're using a joint attack formation. This won't do, I have to break them up. With that in mind, Old Demon Blood Fiend increased his aura while fighting Supreme Longevity, and suddenly slammed a palm toward where Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei were fighting. He was planning to use their joint attack formation to heavily injure the 2 batches. Oh no. Jing Yun, Wu Lingfei, be careful. When Supreme Longevity noticed Old Demon Blood Fiend's palm strike toward them, it was already too late to stop him. He immediately warned them. Sister, dodge. I'll block this attack. At this time, Jing Yun reminded Wu Lingfei to use the Extreme Flame Phoenix Golden Umbrella to block this move. Seeing this, Paragon Eternal Life roared, this won't do. You can't block it, dodge. Dodge now. He could tell that although Jing Yun's half-step Supreme Realm Divine Artifact was of good quality, it definitely couldn't block Old Demon Blood Fiend's full-powered attack. After all, a divine artifact was a divine artifact, and there was still a gap between it and a cultivator's body. Can't block it? Hearing Supreme Longevity's words, Jing Yun was immediately stunned. In fact, she didn't know how powerful an attack from a half-step Supreme Realm expert was. Against this attack, the Extreme Flame Phoenix Golden Umbrella might not be damaged much, but she would definitely be heavily injured by the aftershock. www. Chapter 33:19. Love Shang *U reading /book web wonderful, no pop-up window free reading. What should we do? What should we do? Seeing that Jing Yun's life was in danger, even the ambitious and ruthless Longevity Supremacy felt helpless. He had promised Night Sorrow that he would ensure the safety of the 2 women. However, everything that was happening before his eyes made him feel helpless. He wanted to save them, but he didn't have the ability to do so. He could only vent his anger by attacking Blood Demon Old Demon. Blood Demon Old Demon's attack was irreversible, and it didn't stop at all. Xiao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, and the others attacked with all their might, wanting to help defend against Blood Demon Old Demon's attack. However, it was too late. After all, Blood Demon Old Demon's attack was extremely fast, and they couldn't keep up with it. Seeing this, everyone present broke out in cold sweat. They were all worried for Jing Yun. Especially Wu Lingfei, her body was trembling. If Yuan Fengxue hadn't held her back, she would have rushed forward to face this together with Jing Yun. At this moment, the difference in strength made her feel very uncomfortable. If only my husband was here. Jing Yun thought to herself as she faced Blood Demon Old Demon's attack. At this moment, she missed Night Sorrow's broad shoulders very much. However, she didn't regret fighting for the cultivators of the two worlds. She didn't regret it at all, but she was reluctant to leave. In fact, she knew what kind of impact Supreme Longevity would have on her when he made that judgment. Haha. You guys are attacking me so ferociously, but you can't stop her from dying. Just wait for the tragedy to happen. Blood Demon Old Demon, who was being attacked crazily, taunted as he blocked Supreme Longevity's attack. The cultivators present were so angry that they were about to explode, but they couldn't do anything. Boom! At this moment, a loud sound was heard. At Jing Yun's location, a huge explosion rang out. After the shockwaves from the collision subsided, everyone realized that a figure had suddenly appeared in front of Jing Yun. This person wasn't Night Sorrow, but the heaven-defying sword who had just arrived. At the crucial moment, Heaven-Defying helped Jing Yun block Old Demon Blood Demon's attack. He suffered some injuries, but he quickly recovered. He looked at Jing Yun and said, apart from geniuses like Night Sorrow, it's impossible for anyone in the Earth's sovereign realm to block the attack of a half-step Paramount Realm expert. Don't be impulsive next time. Senior, thank you for saving my life. When Jing Yun reacted, she immediately expressed her gratitude to Heaven-Defying. This was definitely a life-saving grace. At that moment, she was already in despair. Wu Lingfei, whose eyes were brimming with tears, also expressed her gratitude. Senior Tian and I, thank you for saving Jing Yun. You don't have to be so polite with me. Night Sorrow's business is my business. Come, let us fight side by side. Tian and I said and transformed back into a sword. Together with Jing Yun and the rest, he attacked the heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Fiend organization. With the addition of the Heaven-Defying sword, the situation immediately changed. Although the overall strength of the Blood Fiend organization was strong, other than the Blood Fiend Old Demon, no one else could withstand the attack of the Heaven-Defying sword. Very quickly, under the leadership of the Heaven-Defying sword, everyone killed more than 10 cultivators of the Blood Fiend organization. Bastard, there's actually a disruptor. If this continues, it'll be terrible. Seeing that the Heaven-Defying sword had changed the situation instantly, the Blood Fiend Old Demon was instantly enraged. He understood that if this continued, although the cultivators of the two realms would continue to die, his subordinates would also be exhausted. After thinking for a moment, he roared, "Everyone! Summon the power of the altar. Let them see the true strength of our Blood Fiend organization." Yes, Patriarch. Hearing the Blood Fiend Old Demon's words, everyone from the Blood Fiend organization immediately began to chant the incantation of the Blood Fiend organization. After all of them had finished chanting, including the Blood Fiend Old Demon, a blood-colored light appeared on all the cultivators. Being enveloped by this blood-colored light, the auras of the Blood Fiend organization's cultivators instantly increased by 50 to 60%. Their combat strength simply soared, and the feeling they gave off was completely different. Not good. They've summoned the power of the Blood Fiend altar, and their strength has increased by leaps and bounds. Seeing that the Blood Fiend organization's cultivators had increased their combat strength, the Supreme Longevity immediately roared, "This is a moment that concerns the survival of the two realms. Everyone, if you have any tricks up your sleeves, don't hold back, use them all. Don't leave any regrets. On the other hand, as long as we block them, we can be considered to have protected our home." He knew that since the Blood Fiend organization's cultivators could increase their strength, it meant that Night Sorrow had not succeeded in destroying the altar. Now, they could only fight with their lives on the line. Thinking about him was completely useless. Fight. 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 Kill as many as you can. The Eternal Supreme World's cultivators all roared. None of them had any intention of retreating. At this moment, Su Lei shouted, "Warriors of the Eternal Ancient Barren World, follow me and continue to kill the enemy. We will not rest until the Blood Fiend organization that destroyed our home is dead. Not rest until we die. Kill." The Eternal Ancient Barren World's cultivators also roared. Then, the cultivators of the two realms once again engaged in battle with the Blood Fiend organization. This time, although the two realms had the heaven-defying sword, Old Demon Blood Fiend's strength had increased. Soon, Supreme Longevity and the Pan-Long Spear were suppressed. Left with no choice, the heaven-defying sword could only give up on killing the Blood Fiend organization's cultivators and fight against Old Demon Blood Fiend with Supreme Longevity and the Pan-Long Spear. Even in the situation of 3 against 1, they could only fight to a draw with Old Demon Blood Fiend, who had gone all out. This Old Demon Blood Fiend was indeed not a simple person to be able to command an entire region. After receiving the support of the altar's power, his strength had increased by several times compared to the ordinary Blood Fiend organization's cultivators. Instantly, he became extremely difficult to deal with. Supreme Longevity, the Pan-Long Spear, and the heaven-defying sword judged that his strength and speed should have reached the peak of half a step to the Supreme Realm. Even if the 3 of them worked together, they might not be able to kill him. Without the heaven-defying sword holding back the Blood Fiend organization's heavenly supremes, the cultivators of the two realms were completely suppressed. After receiving the support of the altar's power, each of them became extremely ferocious. Moreover, it was as if they had suddenly obtained the ability of copper skin and iron bones, and their defensive strength had increased tremendously. To them, the attacks of the two realms' earthly supremes were no longer as fatal as before. Even the combined attacks of Jing Yun, Wu Lingfei, and the myriad sword sect were only able to suppress them. It was very difficult to kill any one of them. Under such attacks, the cultivators of the two realms began to fall. As the number of cultivators from the two realms decreased, and the Blood Fiend organization's cultivators became more and more ferocious, the island's defense could no longer hold on. Several Blood Fiend organizations' heavenly supremes had already charged into the civilian area and attacked the low-level cultivators. Chapter 33:20. The second deputy city lord, who was in charge of arranging for the elderly, women, and children to board the ship, was heavily injured after a few rounds. He almost died. Helpless, he led a group of cultivators into the defensive array that Night Sorrow had set up for Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei. That was how they managed to survive. As for Jing Yun, Wu Lingfei, and the rest, although they saw the heavenly supremes of the Blood Fiends rushing over, they were helpless. With the number of allies around them dwindling, they could no longer stop all the Blood Fiends' cultivators. Helpless, they could only vent their anger on the Blood Fiends' cultivators in front of them. However, no matter how angry they were, they could not do anything when their strength was suppressed. At this time, Jing Yun said softly, "If my husband can destroy the altar now, there might be hope. If we don't close it quickly, I'm afraid everyone on the island will die except those who have already left. I hope my husband can do it." Wu Lingfei glanced at the island during the battle. She saw a heavenly supremacy of the Blood Fiends brutally tearing apart dozens of women and children from the two worlds. She was instantly enraged and burned the phoenix bloodline in her body. Then, Jing Yun, who saw the cruel scene, also burned the power of her bloodline and fought with the Blood Fiends. "Bastards! All of you deserve to die. One with the sword." At this time, Zhongwan Jian transformed into a sword and became one with the newly forged Extreme Flame Golden Phoenix sword. He attacked one of the Blood Fiend's cultivators. Boom! The Blood Fiend's cultivator in front of him was blasted into pieces. Good. Good kill. Seeing that Zhongwan Jian killed a heavenly supremacy of the Blood Fiends in one move, Xue Changtian roared. He shouted out a lot of the depression in his chest. However, as time went by, such carefree scenes became fewer and fewer. More and more cultivators from the two worlds were dying. As a result, many of the heavenly supremes of the Blood Fiends became unstoppable. Bloodthirsty, they soon began to massacre the elderly, women, and children of the two worlds. They stopped them from boarding the battleships. They also began to destroy the teleportation portals to prevent people from escaping. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Seeing the old, weak women and children of the two worlds that didn't have much combat strength being cruelly slaughtered, even someone like Wu Lingfei, who had a very high level of self-restraint, was completely enraged. For a time, Wu Lingfei, Jing Yun, and the others began to give up on their opponents. While being chased by them, he attacked the heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Fiend organization, who were torturing and killing civilians. They really couldn't watch such a cruel scene continue to happen. However, as time passed, the number of cultivators with combat power in the two realms decreased. Gradually, although most people began to retreat to defend themselves, they could not stop the heavenly sovereigns from the Blood Evil organization from wreaking havoc. Ha ha ha. What a magnificent sight. Aren't you going to enjoy it? When old demon Blood Demon saw the scene before him, he arrogantly sneered. Even though the Supreme Longevity and the others were not fond of him, they still could not take him down. For a moment, the hearts of both realms began to sink into despair. After the cultivators of the Blood Evil organization received the support of the altar, they gradually displayed stronger and stronger combat strength. Although they were fighting with all their might, there was still a gap in strength. At this point in the battle, the fact that there were too many people from both realms had become a burden. Many cultivators had died in order to protect the weak. What should we do? What should we do? Seeing more and more of their allies die and more people get killed, Jin Xian was on the verge of collapse. At this moment, Xiao Tianxian roared, "What do you mean, what should we do?" "Of course, we kill as many as we can." After that, they formed the joint attack formation again and attacked the cultivators of the Blood Evil organization. However, after they killed a few cultivators of the Blood Evil organization, they immediately attracted the attention of many people. The cultivators of the Blood Evil organization who were torturing and killing civilians all gathered here. Soon, more than 20 cultivators of the Blood Evil organization rushed over to provide support and surrounded Jing Yun and the others. Protect the spirit concubine. If you can hold on for a while, just a while. Under such circumstances, Xiao Tianxian transmitted his voice to everyone. Then, they continued to fight in the hopeless situation. Although each of them had a divine weapon given to them by Night Sorrow, the cultivators of the Blood Evil organization were much stronger. Not long after the battle, everyone was pushed away. Without the assistance of the joint attack formation, their situation fell to rock bottom in an instant. He was completely suppressed by the heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Fiend organization. She saw Night Sorrow's family and best friends being forced into such a state. Supreme Longevity immediately transmitted a message to Heaven Defying, "Brother Heaven Defying, go help them. Leave old demon Blood Fiend to me and Brother Coiling Dragon. But you are definitely no match for him. If the two of you are killed, the two worlds will have no chance at all." At that time, even if Yen Ji Zun reappears and Night Sorrow becomes a Supreme Zun, it will be meaningless. Hearing this, the heaven-defying sword immediately replied. "Don't worry. Even if I have to risk my life, I will stop old demon Blood Fiend. Don't worry about helping the others. If you don't go now, everyone will die." Supreme Longevity uttered a roar and took out a pill emitting a misty aura from the space chamber. He swallowed it. "You swallowed the Heavenly Origin Annihilation Pill. After an hour, you will explode and die." Seeing that Supreme Longevity had swallowed the Heavenly Origin Annihilation Pill, Heaven-Defying Sword rushed over to help Jing Yun and the rest. "Haha. If I can hold on for an hour, I will have profited." Hearing this, a smile appeared on Heaven-Defying Sword's face. Then, he looked at old demon Blood Fiend and said coldly, "Let's fight again." "Humph. Don't think that I don't know what the Heavenly Origin Annihilation Pill is. I only need to hold you back for an hour, and you will explode and die." Old demon Blood Fiend looked at Paragon Longevity with a look of disdain. Then, he began to use his speed to hold back Supreme Longevity and the Coiling Dragon Spear. Although the Heaven-Defying Sword went to help Jing Yun and the rest, the Heavenly Sovereigns of the Blood Fiend organization had become extremely powerful after their strength had increased. With the advantage in numbers, even the Heaven-Defying Sword was no longer invincible. Old demon Blood Fiend saw this and sneered, "Supreme Longevity, if I were you, I would escape by myself. That way, you will still have a chance of survival. You beast, you don't understand our feelings for our country at all. Today, as long as I live for a second, I will not let you harm any of the cultivators from the two worlds. After Supreme Longevity swallowed the Heavenly Origin Annihilation pill, his aura increased by a lot. Moreover, he began to use his life-risking battle technique. www. Chapter 33:21. Once Supreme Longevity displayed this kind of battle method that would harm the enemy and himself in the process, he would be able to do it. Knowing that his body would explode in an hour, Old Demon Blood Demon did not fight him head-on. Instead, he used his superior speed to kill time. Supreme Longevity, who wanted to fight with his life on the line, could not attack him at all. Bastard! Do you dare to fight me head-on? Seeing that Old Demon Blood Demon was dodging non-stop, Paragon Longevity scolded in disdain. Humph. I'm not a fool. Why would I fight you head-on in such a situation? Old Demon Blood Demon snorted coldly in response. Then, he released his spirit to check the current situation. He was very satisfied with the current situation. Because even with the heaven-defying bead, the remaining cultivators of the Blood Demon organization could not be suppressed. If things were to continue like this, the island would probably be completely annihilated today. What should we do? If this continues, everyone will die. The master of the 10,000 Sword sect watched the battle unfold in front of him. He pondered for a moment and said, how about this? We'll each choose a target. We'll self-destruct to take them down with us. Although these heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Demon organization are stronger than us, they won't be able to defend against self-destruction at close range. We'll kill as many as we can. How about that? Observe for a while more. If there's still no other way, we'll choose to self-destruct. Xiao Tianxian looked up at the situation and said in a low voice. At this moment, cultivators from the two worlds and other areas had already chosen to self-destruct to protect the other survivors. Because other than that, they could not find any other way to stop Heavenly Sovereign Blood Demon. There's no need to consider. We'll do the same. Seeing that the other cultivators from the two worlds had already started to use self-destruction to kill the cultivators of the Blood Demon organization, Wu Lingfei said with a frown. Speaking of which, she had been through hundreds of battles. At this critical moment, she was not afraid at all. All right. Today, we'll use our blood to defend the final glory of the two worlds. Eternal Supreme World and Eternal Ancient Desolate World were already in a desperate situation. Hearing Wu Lingfei's words, Su Lei agreed. Although she still had a bright future in Lu Tian Academy, she felt that there was no need for her to exist if her home was destroyed and her people were all killed. She was ready to self-destruct. Hearing this, everyone immediately searched for their respective targets. Being stared at covetously by them, even though the cultivators of the Bloody Malevolence organization were very evil, they couldn't help but retreat. Bastard. What was there to fear? If they want to self-destruct, you just have to take them on. Can everyone still be killed? When Old Demon Blood Fiend saw that the cultivators from the Blood Fiend organization were intimidated by the fearless aura of the cultivators from the two realms, he immediately scolded them in displeasure. After being reprimanded, the heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Evil organization calmed down and prepared to fight the cultivators of the two realms. As for the cultivators of the two realms, they each looked for their opponents with solemn and stirring hearts. Right at this moment, Jing Yun suddenly spoke, "Everyone, pay attention. Everyone, pay attention." Pay attention to what? Wu Lingfei, who was closest to her, couldn't help but ask in surprise. Attention, everyone. The bloody light on the heavenly sovereign of the Blood Fiend organization has disappeared. It's very likely that my husband destroyed the altar. Jing Yun reminded everyone loudly. After her reminder, Xiao Tianxian and the others also noticed. The bodies of the heavenly sovereigns of the Blood Evil organization had indeed lost their blood-red glow. All right. The Myriad Sword sect, who was originally prepared to die, immediately roared into the sky. Then, he roared, "Brothers, Kill. The Blood Fiend altar has been destroyed. Don't self-destruct anymore. Kill. Jin Xian also roared with all his might. Kill. 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 Hearing this, the cultivators of the two realms all roared in unison. Kill. Even Su Lei also roared loudly. Then, the cultivators of the two realms started their counterattack. As for the cultivators of the Blood Fiend organization, after losing the power of the altar, it was as if all their energy had been sucked out. They didn't have the strength to fight at all. Very quickly, dozens of them were killed. Damn it. Why is there a problem with the altar? Old Demon Blood Fiend, who was fighting with the Supreme Longevity Organization and the Coiling Dragon Spear, naturally encountered the same problem. He had never expected that there would be a problem with the altar behind him. After all, there was a blood pool and more than 100 cultivators defending there. After realizing that the energy in his body had been sucked out, the thought of escaping immediately arose in Old Demon Blood Fiend's mind. However, after losing the support of the altar, his speed also decreased rapidly. On the other hand, the Supreme Longevity Organization had the support of the Heavenly Essence Annihilation Pill. In such a situation, Old Demon Blood Fiend couldn't win the battle, and he couldn't escape fast enough. Soon, he was killed by the Supreme Longevity Organization personally. In the battle, he didn't even kill a single person before he died. Old Demon Blood Fiend had never expected to die in such a humiliating way. Old Demon Blood Fiend is dead. We won. Kill all the members of the Blood Evil Organization. Don't let a single one of them go. After killing Old Demon Blood Fiend, the Supreme Longevity Organization immediately roared. Kill. When the cultivators of the two realms heard this, they instantly responded with a deafening roar. As for the cultivators of the Blood Fiend Organization, they completely lost their momentum. Not long after, they were all killed. Not a single one of them managed to escape. After killing all the enemies, the cultivators of the two realms, as well as the old, weak, women, and children who were preparing to escape, all cheered. To vent their emotions. It's all thanks to Night Sorrow for successfully destroying the Blood Fiend altar in time. Otherwise, we would all have died today. After the battle ended, the Supreme Longevity Organization said with relief. If he hadn't asked Night Sorrow to destroy the Blood Fiend altar, even if Night Sorrow was here, they might not have won. At this moment, everyone gathered in front of the Supreme Longevity Organization. Tian and I frowned. But you? There's not much time left. Senior Longevity. Yuan Fengxue and the others also knew that the Supreme Longevity Organization would explode and die in a while. They instantly cried out sadly. Haha. Don't worry about me. The end is for a new beginning. I will return. Leaving such a body might be a form of relief for me. The Supreme Longevity Organization looked at everyone and smiled kindly. Then, he said, there's no time. I'll make a move first. You guys wait here for Night Sorrow's return. Leave the rest of the matters to him. After saying that, Eternal Life Supreme soared into the air and flew into the sky. Not long after, there was a huge explosion in the sky. Yuan Fengxue, Jing Yun, and the other girls instantly cried sadly. Wu Lingfei's eyes were also misty. She was extremely upset. After recovering for a while, they finally regrouped and began to clean up the mess. After the Blood Fiend Organization was destroyed, the eternal ancient desolate world became a pure land. They could temporarily rest and recuperate. As for the follow-up matters, everyone prepared to follow the instructions of the Supreme Longevity Organization and leave it to Night Sorrow. Chapter 33-22. At this moment, Night Sorrow was resting in the secret chamber under the palace. At that time, after he killed Xue Qi and the others, he began to attack the Blood Fiend altar. However, the Blood Fiend altar's defensive power was simply astonishing. Moreover, its recovery ability was extremely strong. Every time Night Sorrow used the golden heavenly halberd to create a crack, it would automatically grow back. This also caused Night Sorrow to need to continuously attack. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow continuously attacked the Blood Fiend altar with his ultimate techniques for more than 2 hours. Together with the cultivators who had been purified, they attacked together. Only then did they successfully destroy the Blood Fiend altar. And he had almost burned his flesh and blood, which consumed a lot of energy. Even if he used the pills provided by the Eternal Divine Tower, he still needed a while to recover. In the 10-time space of the Eternal Divine Tower, after recovering for about a day, Night Sorrow successfully recovered. At this time, he immediately kept all the cultivators who had been purified into the Eternal Divine Tower. He said, "I don't know how the battle over there has progressed. You guys hurry up and recover. I'll hurry back. Master, don't worry. We didn't consume as much energy as you did. We have almost recovered. As long as we arrive, we will definitely tear old demon Blood Fiend to shreds." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately responded. "I only hope that my family and friends can hold on until we return." After saying this, Yi Shang didn't say anything else. He used his fastest speed and hurried towards the island. However, no matter how fast he was, he still needed some time to return to the island. When Night Sorrow flew above the island, everyone on the island had already finished cleaning up the severely damaged island. They were rebuilding some of the damaged buildings. At the same time, some of the cultivators who had left on the battleship were also on their way back. Hua Qiangu manga, phew. That's great. Looks like we've won this battle. Seeing everyone cleaning up the mess in an orderly manner, Night Sorrow immediately heaved a sigh of relief. At this time, he released the power of his soul and began to search for Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei. When he found the two of them in the room where he had set up the array, he immediately flew down. "It's great that you're fine." Seeing that Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei were safe and sound, Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. At this moment, Wu Lingfei said with a serious expression, "Husband. Supreme longevity, in order to protect everyone. He consumed the Heaven Essence Annihilation pill and has already exploded and died." "What? Senior longevity has fallen?" When Night Sorrow heard this, he felt as if he had been struck by lightning. For a moment, he couldn't accept it. He sacrificed himself for everyone. We were powerless to stop the tragedy from happening. After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, she fell silent. Jing Yun continued. After that, she explained the details of the battle to Night Sorrow. "It's all my fault. If I had destroyed the Blood Fiend altar earlier, Senior Longevity wouldn't have died." After listening to Jing Yun, Night Sorrow calculated the time and realized that if he had destroyed the altar a moment earlier, he immediately regretted it. "Don't blame yourself. We all know that you do your best. It can only be said that it's fate." Seeing that Night Sorrow was depressed, Jing Yun immediately consoled him. At this moment, Wu Lingfei continued, "Don't dwell in sorrow. Before Senior Longevity left, he said that he would let you take charge of the situation. Think about how the cultivators of the two worlds should go in the future. Let me think about it." Hearing this, Night Sorrow forcefully suppressed the sadness in his heart. In fact, losing Supreme Longevity was a huge blow to the Eternal Supreme World. This meant that the Eternal Supreme World had lost a hope of becoming a Supreme Venerable. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow thought to himself, "It seems that if I want to fight against the 3 Supreme Venerables, I have to defeat the fog area. I can only become a Supreme Venerable and then find Yan Jizuan and the Junior Supreme Venerable Li Kan mentioned. Only then will there be a glimmer of hope." Then, he began to think about how to settle these people in the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World. There was no doubt that the Eternal Ancient Desolate World was safe for now. If they were to recuperate here, they should be able to develop and grow in peace. But for those with potential and talent, it would be a waste of talent to stay here. The speed of their strength improvement would definitely be limited. After thinking carefully, he suddenly had an idea. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow gathered all the cultivators above the earthly supreme level. He said, "The Eternal Ancient Desolate World is temporarily safe. I plan to leave all the cultivators below the earthly supreme level in the palace and the island to recuperate. As for the earthly supreme level cultivators, I plan to bring them to the fog area. Everyone, quickly improve your strength. Strive to become a heavenly supreme as soon as possible, or even half a step to the supreme venerable or even the supreme venerable. Does anyone have any opinions? If we go to the fog area, will we completely become tools of slaughter? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, an earthly supreme in the eternal ancient desolate world immediately asked. After all, in everyone's hearts, the fog area was a place that could not be entered. No. As long as we follow Brother Yi, there will be no problems. Su Lei glanced at the cultivator and explained. If we don't become beasts of slaughter, we naturally want to go there to cultivate. Hearing Su Lei say that they would not be corroded in the fog area, someone immediately expressed their willingness to follow Night Sorrow. At this time, Night Sorrow continued, to be honest, it's the power of good karma that I have that can purify the fog. Even if everyone is corroded in the fog area, I have a way to remove it. So, everyone can follow me into the fog area with peace of mind. It's just that currently, we don't have a suitable place for everyone to cultivate. Everyone may feel wronged for a while. After I bring people to take over some family's territory, everyone can cultivate in peace there. If he brought fewer people from the space grotto heaven, entering the Lu Tian Academy would be fine. But Night Sorrow felt that if he brought hundreds or thousands of cultivators who were not from the fog area into the Lu Tian Academy, or even the middle of the academy, something big might happen. So, he planned to settle them outside the academy. And the Lin family's foundation was what he planned to take over. As long as he took over the Lin family's territory, then, he could completely develop it into a pure land for cultivators from the two families to cultivate. You mean, you want to take over all the Lin family's territory? Settle everyone there? Su Lei had also come from the fog area. Naturally, he understood Night Sorrow's meaning, so he immediately asked. It's like this. If we rashly bring everyone to the middle of the academy to cultivate, their strength will increase by leaps and bounds. But if we are discovered by the supreme beings, we will definitely be wiped out. If that happens, we will never have a chance to turn things around. So, I don't want to take this risk. Night Sorrow explained. All right. Then, let's go back and quickly develop our forces, then destroy the Lin family. Su Lei agreed. www. Chapter 33-23. 1 second to remember love on *U reading /book wonderful, no pop-up window free reading. After saying this, Su Lei continued, but I think it's best not to bring everyone along. Otherwise, if you have something to do and stay in the middle courtyard for a long time, or if you are tied up by something, then everyone will have nowhere to hide. Hearing this, Night Sorrow shook his head and said, there's no need for that. I can help everyone make a fake fog aura. Let everyone stay on Night Demon Peak to cultivate. Even if everyone is corroded by the fog, I have a way to purify it. Everyone just needs to be responsible for quickly increasing their strength. So, if everyone is corroded by the fog, can't we enter the middle courtyard to cultivate? Why would we snatch the Lin clan's territory? Su Lei said in confusion. He felt that it was better to let everyone enter the middle courtyard to increase their strength faster. I feel that the middle courtyard is very special. Even if it's me, there will be problems if I stay there for a long time. So I don't want to stay there for long. Night Sorrow explained, in addition, in a few thousand years, the three supremes will come out of seclusion. If any of them were to come out of seclusion, they would see through my identity. I will stay in the middle courtyard for at most a few thousand years. So, before they come out, we have to arrange our territory clearly. This way, it will be relatively safer. So that's how it is. Indeed, the three supremes are too terrifying. It's best if we avoid them. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he immediately understood what was going on and agreed. The others also more or less understood what was going on in the fog area. After discussion, everyone present decided to follow Night Sorrow to the fog area. After making arrangements for everyone, Night Sorrow left with Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei. After returning to his residence, he looked at Wu Lingfei and said, "Lingfei, what I mean is that you and Jing Yun stay in the eternal ancient desolate world. I don't want our child to be contaminated by the fog before it is even born. What do you think?" "Since you have decided, I naturally have no objections. It's also a good thing for us to stay here. It's to prevent you from worrying about us and affecting the normal operation of things. If our eternal supreme world wants to completely take back our home, it will definitely be an extremely difficult path. I hope you can lead everyone on this path. When you're free, just come and visit us." After a moment of silence, Wu Lingfei began to speak word by word. To be honest, she wanted to go with Night Sorrow. However, he was also worried that if Night Sorrow was gone for too long, she would be infected with the dark aura and give birth to a child that would be born evil. Therefore, he couldn't accept it. Hearing this, Night Sorrow was very grateful for her understanding. He hugged her and said, "No matter how difficult the road is, I will lead everyone to successfully take back the eternal supreme world and let everyone live a peaceful life. When the time comes, we can bring everyone from our family over. We can enjoy the happiness of family and watch the children cultivate and fight. Hee, good. I hope that day will come soon." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Wu Lingfei's face revealed a trace of a smile. Without their clansmen, she and Jingyun felt that this wasn't a complete home. However, this was a special period of time, so they couldn't bring their families over from the God Realm. At least for now, the God Realm was still a pure land without any major dangers. "Jingyun, in the next few years, I'll leave Lingfei to you to take care of. Thank you for your hard work." After speaking to Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow looked at Jingyun and said gently, "We're all family, so there's no need to be so polite. It's my duty to take care of my sister. However, I hope you can come back and visit us when you have time. We're worried about you if you don't see us for hundreds or thousands of years." Jingyun said emotionally. During the thousands of years that Night Sorrow had been in the fog, she and Wu Lingfei had always been on tenterhooks, afraid that something would happen to Night Sorrow. "Don't worry, I'll come back often. At the very least, I'll bring you a lot of cultivation resources." Night Sorrow looked at Jingyun. "Although you're in the eternal ancient desolate world, it's best that you don't neglect your cultivation. The war in the future will be chaotic. At that time, I might have to fight against the Supremes and won't have the energy to take care of you. All right. We'll work hard in our cultivation and try to protect ourselves in the battle against the Supremes. Jingyun nodded her head seriously. She also knew that if they didn't overcome the 3 mountains of the Supremes, there would be no light in the eternal ancient desolate world. After a few years, they would be harvested again. Therefore, no matter what, they had to defeat the 3 Supremes. Almost half of the pressure on the group that had defeated the 3 Supreme Venerates was concentrated on Yishang. "These are the resources that I've prepared for you. You should be able to use these resources to cultivate to the Heavenly Supreme level. When you reach the Heavenly Supreme level, you can consume a Supreme Heavenly Origin pill to raise your cultivation level." Night Sorrow took out some of the resources that he had accumulated for the 2 women from the space cave. He handed them to Jingyun and continued, "Then I'll take my leave first. There are still many things that I need to deal with in the fog. Don't go yet. Let me brew another pot of tea for you." Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to leave, Jingyun immediately spoke up. She and Wu Lingfei's eyes were a little wet. "All right. I'll stay with you for a few more days." Night Sorrow could feel that the 2 women were reluctant to part with him, so he agreed and stayed. In the following days, Night Sorrow brought the 2 women out of the island and into the sea to relax. After returning, Night Sorrow bid farewell to them and led the cultivators of the 2 worlds to seal the passageways between the eternal ancient desolate world and the eternal ancient desolate world, as well as the passageways between the eternal ancient desolate world and the fog. Only then did he bring everyone to the fog. "So this is the foggy area? It's really so foggy that it feels unfathomable. When the myriad sword sect in Night Sorrow's space cave entered the fog and saw that there were earthly supremes everywhere, they immediately sighed with emotion. When I first came here, I wasn't even an earthly supremacy. Facing these creatures was still very stressful. But later, I found that the cultivation of the average cultivator in the fog is at the heavenly supreme level. I think that after everyone enters the fog, they will soon become heavenly supremes. After the myriad sword sect finished speaking, Night Sorrow began to tell everyone about his experiences in the fog. After listening to him from beginning to end, the cultivators of the two worlds had a basic understanding of the fog. After talking about his experiences, Night Sorrow continued, "Next, I'm going to bring you to the Night Demon Peak that I've created. It's threatened by the Lin clan, but relatively speaking, it's safer than the Lu Tian Academy. Everyone can stay there permanently." "All right. We'll catch up as soon as possible." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, the myriad sword sect smiled and said, "I'll think of a way to provide everyone with resources so that you can quickly become heavenly supremes. When all of you become heavenly supremes, together with the forces that we've developed in the fog, we'll be able to attack the Lin clan." Night Sorrow said slowly as they flew towards the Night Demon Peak. "This Lin clan, he must annihilate." Chapter 33-24. I heard that there are 2,000 to 3,000 heavenly sovereigns in the Lin clan. Even if everyone becomes a heavenly sovereign, I'm afraid we won't be able to fight against them, right? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Su Lei added. She was not confident. The Lin clan was one of the most powerful clans in the foggy area. They controlled an extremely vast area, and the number of heavenly sovereigns in the clan was extremely exaggerated. There were at least 2 half-step to Supreme Realm experts, and they were absolute overlords. It was very difficult to uproot a force with such strength. When everyone's strength reaches the heavenly sovereign level, my strength won't be as weak as it is now. At that time, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with ordinary half-step to Supreme Realm cultivators. Although the Lin clan has many people, they shouldn't be a threat. Night Sorrow finished speaking calmly and continued, "And our extermination of the Lin clan is something that the Lu Tian Academy secretly supports. At that time, I might be able to get some support from Vice Dean Ji Xian. Because they are not a threat." "Yes. The Lu Tian Academy is preparing to use people from the Central Academy to conquer the Eternal Supreme Domain and the Foggy Area. They should be thinking of completely reshuffling the cards in the 2 domains and taking control of them." The others didn't know about the Lu Tian Academy, but Su Lei knew. After she said this, she looked at Night Sorrow. "But what's the reason for doing this?" "Reason?" During the flight, Night Sorrow deduced, "According to my judgment. It should be because after the last battle, the 3 Supremes were injured and went into hibernation. They lost control of the foggy area. The foggy area was handed over to these big clans. Now, they should be recovering soon. They should start to deal with these clans. They are preparing to completely control the foggy area in the hands of their own people. Of course, I also suspect that there are some hidden secrets in this. But how can they be sure that the people from the Central Academy are reliable?" Su Lei said, then looked at Night Sorrow worriedly and said, "Could it be that they still have a backup plan?" "Not could it be, it's definitely. The 3 Supremes must have already made arrangements in this regard," Night Sorrow said with a frown. Then, he continued, "That's why I'm preparing to take over the Lin clan's businesses as soon as possible and strengthen our own forces. But after the 3 Supremes come out of seclusion, no matter how strong everyone is, it should be useless," Su Lei said with a frown. The 3 Supreme Venerables would come out of seclusion in less than 10,000 years. This was something that many people in the foggy area knew. It was also a stone that weighed down on everyone's hearts. Everyone is no match for the 3 Supreme Venerables. However, it would be best if he could contend against someone half a step into the limitless realm. If a war were to break out in the future, the 3 Supreme Venerables would be restrained by someone. But everyone needs to be able to protect themselves in the face of an army of thousands. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he didn't say anything else. This was because they had already arrived at the entrance of Night Demon Peak. The mountain gate of Night Demon Peak was much larger than when Night Sorrow had been there. It looked very imposing. The plaque hanging high in the sky seemed to have the meaning of an immortal's lintel. "We're here. Everyone, absorb some of the ancient coffin's aura to disguise yourselves." Floating in the air above the mountain gate, Night Sorrow took out the ancient coffin from the space and let everyone absorb it. After everyone had finished absorbing, he then slowly flew into Night Demon Peak. However, he didn't summon everyone. The moment he stepped into Night Demon Peak, the cultivators guarding the mountain gate recognized Night Sorrow and immediately informed Yunyi and the rest. Yunyi left and brought a few cultivators out to welcome him. "Haha. Brother Yi, you're finally back. How's the matter that you went to settle?" Seeing Night Sorrow's figure, Yunyi immediately welcomed him with a smile. He knew that Night Sorrow had returned to his hometown to look for his family. It's still considered satisfactory. Night Sorrow gave a simple reply. Then, he asked, "How was the situation here while I was away? Did the Lin family take revenge?" "The Lin family did take action against us. But every time, Lin Dongxiao was able to send the news out in time. Therefore, we didn't suffer any losses." Yunyi transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. Naturally, he wouldn't reveal Lin Dongxiao's matter in front of others. After talking about the Lin family, Yunyi continued, "Also, because we have enough resources recently, the treatment given is better. Moreover, we have the middle court to rely on, so the recruitment process is relatively smooth. When you left, we only had less than 10 Heavenly Supremes left. Now, we've recruited 60 to 70 of them. Very good. At this rate, we should be able to compete with the Lin family very soon." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he looked at Yunyi and said, "Brother Yun, gather everyone. I'm going to check if the newly recruited people are reliable." In his own space grotto heaven, there were more than 100 cultivators from the two realms. He had to ensure that the people he recruited were all reliable before he could summon them out and make arrangements. "All right. Let's go to the meeting hall and wait." After speaking, Yunyi brought Night Sorrow and Su Lei into the meeting hall of Night Demon Peak. Then, he began to gather all the cultivators in Night Demon Peak. Not long after, all of the cultivators were gathered in the conference hall. With the previous experience of the Lin family cultivators joining Night Demon Peak, this time, everyone was gathered. This time, after everyone had arrived, Night Sorrow immediately looked at everyone and said, "Hello everyone, I'm Night Demon. I'm from the middle court of Lu Tian Academy. Today, I've gathered everyone here to sign the Blood Oath of Alliance." "Blood Oath of Alliance? What's that?" Hearing this, a cultivator immediately stepped forward and looked at Night Sorrow. "It's similar to a heavenly oath. However, it has a paper as proof and the heavens as proof." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he asked Yunyi to prepare the Blood Oath of Alliance. He explained, "This Blood Oath of Alliance is fair to both of us. Night Demon Peak is responsible for protecting and nurturing you, but you have to fight for Night Demon Peak and guarantee that you won't betray us. If anyone wants to leave, you can leave now. This way, we can ensure that you weren't sent by other forces. Is that so? Then, won't we have to be loyal to Night Demon Peak forever?" Hearing Night Sorrow's words, some of the cultivators started to think. To them, the word "forever" was more or less a binding term. Seeing that everyone was talking about it, Night Sorrow said with a smile, "Forever represents stability. You want to be protected by a large force, but you don't want to pay anything. That's absolutely impossible. Night Demon Peak, with the middle court as our backing, will soon grow into a large force. If you want to join us in the future, you have to meet some requirements. Think about it carefully. After you've thought it through, you can find me to sign the Blood Oath of Alliance." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, some of the cultivators present started to study it. Those who had ulterior motives naturally felt very uncomfortable. They had already started to think about what they should do to escape today. Chapter 33-25. After all, some of the cultivators were sent by other factions to infiltrate Night Devil Peak and had already formed an alliance with them. If they signed the blood pact with Night Devil Peak, it would be a direct violation of the Heavenly Tao. They would be punished by the Heavenly Tao. Seeing the reactions of some of the cultivators present, Yishang revealed a trace of a smile and said, "Has everyone thought it through? The Night Devil Peak Master is willing to sign the blood pact with us because he trusts and cares for us. We have no reason not to sign it." Some cultivators rushed to respond as soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking. As soon as this cultivator finished speaking, many other cultivators immediately chimed in. Clearly, they were very interested in joining Night Devil Peak. The reactions of these cultivators were obviously within Night Sorrow's consideration. However, they did not pass Night Sorrow's test. Night Sorrow ignored the silent cultivators and looked at the cultivators who had agreed to sign the blood pact. "Everyone, come one by one in front of Brother Yun Yi and sign the blood pact. Remember, use your real name. Only then will the blood pact take effect." After he finished speaking, some cultivators lined up and came before him to sign the blood pact. This blood pact was found by Yun Yi in an ancient book after the last large-scale betrayal. After modification, it basically eliminated all possibilities of cheating. When the blood pact began to be signed, some cultivators who did not want to join Night Devil Peak could no longer sit still. One of the cultivators stood up and rushed toward Night Devil Peak's mountain gate. The other dozen or so cultivators who could not sign the blood pact also stood up and flew out of the conference hall, wanting to escape from Night Devil Peak. Night Sorrow sneered. "Brother Yun, activate the mountain protecting array. Don't let any of them go. I want those factions to understand that Night Devil Peak is not to be infiltrated. Don't worry. With the array you set up, none of them will be able to escape today." Yun Yi replied and activated the mountain protecting array. Then, he ordered, "Everyone, attack together and kill all the spies sent by the other factions." "Yes." Some of the cultivators who were about to sign the pact heard this and immediately chased outside. At this time, Night Sorrow said, "Everyone, there's no need to be like this. I'll take care of this. You guys continue to sign the blood oath." After saying that, he took out his golden heavenly halberd and chased after the heavenly sovereigns. Very soon, the dozen or so cultivators were all killed and handed over to the Eternal Divine Tower to devour. The main reason he did this was to display his strength. When they saw Night Sorrow, who was a lower heavenly sovereign, take out a heavenly sovereign with a single move, some of the people present were completely shocked. The geniuses of the middle school of the Dark Tao Academy were indeed not simple. After that, the speed of signing the blood oath of allegiance also increased by a lot. After everyone had signed the blood oath of alliance, Night Sorrow looked at them and said, "Everyone has signed the blood oath of alliance, but you still need to swear an oath of loyalty to Night Demon Peak. Does anyone have any objections to this? Since the blood oath has been signed, there's naturally no problem in swearing such an oath to the Heavenly Tao." One of the cultivators immediately replied. After that, he was the first to swear an oath to never betray the Heavenly Tao. When the others saw that this cultivator was the first to swear an oath to the Heavenly Tao, they naturally did not shirk from it and all began to do so. During this process, Night Sorrow, whose power of merit had already advanced to the upper earthly sovereign level, saw that there was something wrong with the three cultivators. Although they had sworn an oath to the Heavenly Tao as required, their thoughts were different. After using his power of merit to detect these people, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Yun Yi and pointed out the three of them. After that, Yun Yi asked, "Are we going to cast a long line to catch a big fish or kill them directly? Capture them first and interrogate them properly to find out which forces they are from. This way, we will know in our hearts. This time, I've brought many friends with me. These people must not be exposed." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he directly attacked the three of them and restrained them. After handing them over to Yun Yi, he looked at the crowd and said, "These three are spies. As for how I identified them, I won't talk about it. I still have things to deal with, so I'll leave the follow-up to Deputy Peak Master Yun Yi. Farewell, Peak Master." Some of the cultivators present hurriedly got up to send Night Sorrow off. Rise. Since we've all joined Night Demon Peak, we're brothers. There's no need to care about these complicated formalities. After Night Sorrow said that, he sent a voice transmission to Yun Yi. Brother Yun, you take charge of the situation first. I'll go outside to set up some arrays and then summon my friends, so that they can cultivate peacefully in Night Demon Peak. All right. Go ahead and do it. Leave the matter at hand to me. Yun Yi knew that the friends that Night Sorrow mentioned were definitely not from the foggy area, so he immediately responded. All right. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he found a remote area on Night Demon Peak and began to set up the arrays. After setting up the ceiling arrays, he summoned everyone and said, the area we're in now is Night Demon Peak on the outskirts of Lu Tian Academy. Although this area is not big, it should be enough for everyone to build their cave abodes. In the future, I'll return to Lu Tian Academy, so everyone can do whatever you want. If you breathe in the foggy aura, don't be afraid. When I return, I'll purify it for everyone. All right. Night Sorrow, don't worry. We'll improve our strength as soon as possible. Seeing that Night Sorrow was worried about everyone, Myriad Sword Sect immediately smiled and said, you don't have to worry about us. Everyone here will only work hard to cultivate and won't wander around and cause trouble. I feel that it's a little unfair for everyone to stay here. But there's nothing we can do about it. I still have things to do, so I'll take my leave first. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he took another look at his friends and left with Su Lei. After that, he explained the details to Yun Yi and returned to Lu Tian Academy with Su Lei. When they arrived at Lu Tian Academy, Night Sorrow brought Su Lei directly to the middle of the academy. When they were on the starship, Night Sorrow let Su Lei try to fight against the skeletons on the island, and Su Lei successfully dealt with one wave. When it came to the second wave, he was unable to fight back. At this time, Night Sorrow made his move and successfully dealt with the second and third waves of pirate skeletons. Not long after dealing with the third wave of pirate skeletons, they successfully arrived at Night Demon Planet. When they arrived at Night Demon Planet, Night Sorrow immediately flew to the palace that he had built. He believed that after such a long time, Xian Nian and the rest must have built the palace even more thoroughly. However, when they arrived at the palace, Night Sorrow's brows suddenly furrowed. The palaces that he had personally set up were all destroyed and turned into ruins. What's going on? While Night Sorrow was observing with the sea serpent's eye, Xian Heng said sternly. Chapter 33-26. Could it be that the Night Demon Planet was attacked by other geniuses? Or was it attacked by beasts from the outside world? Seeing the situation in front of him, Su Lei frowned and speculated. It should be very difficult for beasts from the outside world to break through the defensive array set up by me and my teacher. Night Sorrow observed everything with a gloomy expression. Then, he said worriedly, I wonder where Hasa and Xian Nian have gone. Let's look for them on the Night Demon Planet first. If we can't find them, we can only ask Teacher Ji Xian for help. Okay. We'll look for them immediately. Su Lei nodded when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Follow me. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he released his soul power and searched the Night Demon Planet. At the same time, he sent a message to Hasa, Xian Nian, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast, Bai Mei Sanren, and the others. He hoped to get a response from them. However, after searching the entire Night Demon Planet, he did not find anything. None of the people who sent the voice transmissions replied to him. It seems that they are no longer on the Night Demon Planet. Let's go find Teacher Ji Xian and ask him to take us to Jia Lin's planet. After searching the entire Night Demon Planet, he did not find a single friend. Night Sorrow's heart sank. He was very worried that Hasa, Xian Nian, and the others had been captured or killed by other geniuses in the central courtyard. Then, he found Vice Principal Ji Xian and told him about the situation on the Night Demon Planet. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Vice Principal Ji Xian said, Jia Lin has already told me about what you've said. Some genius in the central courtyard felt that with your strength, you were not qualified to have a foothold there. So, he led people to attack the Night Demon planet. When all the buildings on the Night Demon planet were destroyed, Jia Lin brought the injured Xian Nian and the others to the planet. Don't worry, none of your friends have died. Teacher, please tell me the coordinates of the Jia Lin planet. I'll go find my friends. After hearing what had happened to the Night Demon planet, Night Sorrow was angry but also slightly relieved. Okay. I'll give you the coordinates of the Jia Lin planet. However, you have to be careful. The genius who is targeting you this time is very strong and has his own starship. Before you have your own starship, it's best that you don't confront him head-on. Vice Principal Ji Xian could tell that Night Sorrow was furious and reminded him. Starship? Can a person also own a starship? Night Sorrow asked doubtfully. He really didn't know much about the central courtyard. After all, he did not linger after obtaining the Night Demon's star. Instead, he left immediately. Of course. Last time, I didn't think things through and didn't tell you everything. Here are some things to take note of in the middle courtyard. Take a good look at them. Starships could be exchanged with star points. Of course, starships were not the only things that could be exchanged with star points. There were also many other useful resources and divine artifacts. As for how to obtain the star points, it was stated in the Jade Slip. Go back and take a good look. At this point, Vice Dean Ji Xian continued, and in the middle courtyard, there are many opportunities waiting for you to explore. The things you can obtain will be beyond your imagination. However, the fierceness of the competition will also exceed your imagination. I can't help you or Jia Lin there. You can only rely on yourselves. Work hard and strive to be the first genius in the middle courtyard to reach the supreme realm. I have high hopes for you. Thank you, teacher. Night Sorrow took the Jade Slip from Vice Dean Ji Xian and thanked him before continuing. I'm anxious to see my friend, so I'll take my leave first. Go. I look forward to seeing you establish yourself in the middle courtyard and make a name for yourself. Vice Dean Ji Xian looked at Night Sorrow with anticipation. Don't worry, teacher. I'll definitely establish myself in the middle courtyard. Night Sorrow bowed to Vice Dean Ji Xian and returned to the middle courtyard, heading straight for Jia Lin's planet. After defeating 3 waves of pirate skulls, he and Su Lei successfully arrived at Jia Lin's planet. They had just landed when a few of Jia Lin's subordinates intercepted them. The leader of the female cultivators immediately scolded, "Who are you people? How dare you barge into Jia Lin's planet? Don't be angry. I'm Night Demon, the owner of the Night Demon Star. I'm Jia Lin's friend. Help me inform him." Night Sorrow looked at the female cultivator in front of him and said slowly. You're the useless Star Lord who implicated Master. When Night Sorrow reported his name, the female cultivator immediately retorted with a displeased question. Oh. How did you get the title of useless Star Lord? Hearing this, Night Sorrow was instantly displeased. Sister Jiahan, please don't talk so much. He's a Star Lord after all. He's not someone we can afford to offend. The female cultivator called Jiahan originally wanted to say something. But at this moment, a female cultivator behind her came out to persuade her, so she gave up. With a cold snort, she and the other female cultivator went to inform Jia Lin. Not long after, Jia Lin rushed over. When she saw Night Sorrow, she immediately heaved a sigh of relief and said, "You're finally back. Recently, I've been under a lot of pressure. Thank you for your hard work." What exactly happened? Night Sorrow could completely feel Jia Lin's exhaustion and knew that she must have been under a lot of pressure. Let's talk as we walk. Your friends are all recuperating in my palace. Jia Lin made an inviting gesture to Night Sorrow and Su Lei, and took the lead to fly in front to lead the way. At the same time, she told them what had happened to Night Devil Planet. It turned out that after Night Sorrow left, Meng He and Zhu Qingxian, who had a grudge against him and Jia Lin, instigated Baron Jia to cause trouble for Night Devil Planet. Baron Jie drove his starship and brought Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. After arriving at Night Devil Planet, he destroyed all the palaces built by Night Sorrow and the others. He also injured Dancing Woman, Xian Nian, Marquis Wolf, Bai Mei Sanren, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and the others. Then, he warned that no cultivators could exist on Night Devil Planet in the future. If there were, it would be to cause trouble for him, Baron Jia, and he would drive his starship to smash it at any time. This time, it was to injure people. Next time, it would be to kill people. As for Jia Lin, there were experts protecting him, so they did not dare to directly attack him. Bastard. I will definitely teach you a lesson. After listening to Jia Lin, Night Sorrow immediately flew into a rage. I'm sorry, I've implicated you this time. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have offended Baron Jia and Si Ming. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian are not your match at all. The problem lies with Baron Jia and Si Ming. Jia Lin said embarrassedly when he saw Night Sorrow's anger. It's not your fault. With my strength, it's hard not to be targeted in the middle of the courtyard. I will think of a way to solve this matter. Night Sorrow looked at Jia Lin. This time, I have to thank you for taking in my friends. You're welcome, we are friends too. Moreover, it's equivalent to me bringing you into the middle of the courtyard. Naturally, we have to help each other. After Jia Lin finished speaking, he pointed to the palace in the distance and said, We're here. Your friends are all inside, I'll bring you in. Chapter 33-27. Jia Lin, thank you so much. While flying towards the palace, Night Sorrow thanked Jia Lin again. Then, under Jia Lin's lead, he entered the palace with Su Lei and saw Hasa Lady, Xian Nian, and the others. What made Night Sorrow extremely angry was that everyone present was severely injured. They were just short of having their Dantian and Divine Soul destroyed. It's all my fault for coming back late and making everyone suffer. But don't worry, I'll avenge you all. Without waiting for anyone to speak, Night Sorrow spoke first. It's all our fault for not being good enough. It has nothing to do with you. That Huang Jia is only an upper heavenly supreme, but he defeated me so easily. Speaking of which, I'm still too weak. Hearing this, Hasa Lady said unwillingly. Bai Mei Sanren, who was the most seriously injured, said, Brother, our lives are not in danger. Don't be rash. He could feel Night Sorrow's anger, and he was afraid that he would fight Huang Jia to the death. Brother, don't worry. He's just an upper heavenly supreme who can fight against a half-step to supreme realm. Brother, you're not afraid. When I exchange for a starship, I'll go and trample on his barren thorn planet. Yi Shang walked in front of White-Browed Wanderer and spoke word by word. Then, he took out a pill and gave it to him first. Then, he gave it to the others. Speaking of which, Night Sorrow's coming to the foggy area had a lot to do with Bai Mei Sanren. However, while he was doing well here, Bai Mei Sanren's cultivation level was increasing very slowly. Brother, I heard from Miss Jia Lin that you need a lot of star points to exchange for a starship. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Bai Mei Sanren was a little surprised that Night Sorrow wanted to exchange for a starship to attack the barren thorn planet. He immediately reminded him. After all, Jia Lin had been in the middle court for so many years and had not gotten a starship yet. At this time, Jia Lin also said, yes. Night Demon, you need 10,000 star points to exchange for a starship. This is definitely not a small number. I'll do my best to investigate this matter. Everyone stay here and recuperate. I'll go back to Night Demon Planet and build our palace. Seeing that no one's life was in danger, and that no one was crippled, Night Sorrow's hanging heart could be temporarily put down. He was ready to return to Night Demon Planet and build his palace. Hearing this, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast immediately advised, no. That group of people was extremely powerful. They were not inferior to experts who were half a step into the supreme realm. If you return rashly, I'm afraid you'll end up like us. I'm not afraid of ordinary cultivators who are half a step into the limitless stage. Su Lei, stay here and help take care of Pajuo. Yi Shan looked at the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and said a few words before taking his leave. Even Su Lei was left behind. Then, Tong Jielin said, for the next period of time, I will entrust my friends to you. As for me, I will properly deal with Huang Ji and the others. I understand what you mean. I will help you take care of your friend. Also, I have 300 star points here. I'll give them all to you. Jia Lin knew that Night Sorrow was preparing to fight Huang Ji and the others alone, so he did not bring any friends. She gave out her star token and all the star points on it to Night Sorrow. Thank you. Night Sorrow knew very well that it was very difficult to obtain star points in the middle of the courtyard. 300 star points was not a small amount. It was enough for him to exchange for a certain amount of resources, so he immediately thanked her. You're welcome. We're friends. Also, I have high hopes for you. Jia Lin said and then said apologetically, as for the battle with Huang Ji and the others, my strength is not enough, so I shouldn't be able to help you much. I hope you don't mind. Of course I don't mind. Also, I'm very grateful for your Jia Lin bloodline. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he boarded the starship under Jia Lin's gaze and used it to return to Night Demon Planet. After stepping onto Night Demon Planet, Night Sorrow collected the destroyed palace and then built an identical palace in the same position. After that, he waited patiently for Huang Ji to arrive. However, after waiting for a long time, he did not see anyone from Huang Ji. Therefore, he began to study the jade slip that Vice President Ji Xian had given him. Then, he read through the entire jade slip once. Only then did he know that there was a star hall in the middle of the courtyard. In the star hall, one could accept missions and exchange for items. And this star hall was the evolved version of the 9-story pavilion. Its level was much higher than the 9-story pavilion. Among the items that could be exchanged, none of them were ordinary. However, according to the level of the items, the star points consumed would also be different. He finished reading the jade slip. Night Sorrow waited for a few more days on Night Demon Planet, but the people from Huang Ji still did not appear. Therefore, he boarded the starship and went straight to the Star Hall. After the starship landed on the platform of the Star Hall, Night Sorrow slowly flew down from the ship. He walked towards the entrance of the Star Hall. As he walked, he saw that some of the guards in the Star Hall were upper heavenly sovereigns. These guards looked at him with unfriendly gazes. Obviously, they felt that he, a lower heavenly sovereign, was not worthy of being a seated contestant in the middle of the courtyard. Night Sorrow did not care about these looks at all. He walked directly into the first level of the Star Hall. According to the records on the jade slip, the Star Hall was divided into 9 levels, just like the 9-story pavilion. On the first floor, the items and missions that could be exchanged or accepted were all in the single digits. On the second level, it was in the 10 digits. So on and so forth. If he wanted to exchange for a starship, he would need to enter the 5th level. The items or missions on the 9th level involved hundreds of millions of star points. Night Sorrow did not rush to the 5th level to look at the starship. Instead, he patiently looked at the 1st level. He found that the items that could be exchanged for on the 1st level were mostly star maps and star monster introduction books. In addition, there were some books with rare treasures and elixirs in the middle of the courtyard. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow found that every book seemed to be useful. Therefore, he spent a total of 100 star points to exchange for all 100 books. He knew that these were all necessities in the middle of the courtyard, so he started reading in the main hall. As he read, Night Sorrow found out that the middle of the courtyard was also called the Endless Sea of Stars. It contained an endless amount of star monsters, as well as endless good fortune. In the starry sky, there were endless resources floating, but it was unknown who would find them. If I just mentioned the name of the courtyard, who would have thought that it contained such an endless sea of stars? As he read more, Night Sorrow learned more about the Endless Sea of Stars. In his heart, he had endless imagination about the Endless Sea of Stars. It Isn't this the night demon we are looking for? He actually came to the Star Hall. Just as Night Sorrow was concentrating on reading, a sinister voice suddenly sounded. Night Sorrow heard it and looked back, only to find that there were two people. One was Meng He, and the other was Zhu Qingxian. He immediately sneered, "You came at the right time." Chapter 33-28. Ha ha ha. You're a star master who can't even protect a planet. Where did you get your confidence from? Meng He burst into laughter when he heard Night Sorrow's words. He and Zhu Qingxian had Huang Ji and Si Ming as their backup. They were not afraid of Night Sorrow at all. Moreover, both of their strengths had increased recently. Their confidence was inflated. Although they knew that they were no match for Night Sorrow in a one-on-one battle, they felt that Night Sorrow had no chance of winning in a two-on-one battle. After all, they had fought in an open battlefield before. They had only managed to escape because Jia Lin had appeared. What are you two trash talking about? Did you follow Baron Thorn to my night demon planet to cause trouble? Night Sorrow was already enraged by the destruction of Night Demon Planet's palace and the injury of his friend. Now that the two of them were here, how could he not be angry? He scolded them coldly. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were confident in themselves. He was also confident that he would win. Who gave you the courage to call us trash? Meng He asked angrily when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Zhu Qingxian sneered. Meng He, why are you angry with a star master who doesn't even dare to return to his planet after his palace was destroyed? We can just take care of trash like him. You're right. Meng He replied and looked at Night Sorrow. Since you think we're trash, do you dare to fight with us in the decisive battle platform? His words were naturally a provocation to Yishang, to make him agree to fight one against two. Hearing this, Yishang naturally understood what they meant. He said disdainfully, "Didn't you look down on me as a star master? Why do you want to fight me in a two-on-one battle?" Although that was what he said, it was exactly what he wanted. Although Killer Heaven Academy did not forbid students from fighting, they could not simply fight in the Star Hall where the rules were strict. If they wanted to fight, they had to go to the decisive battle platform. He felt that it would save him a lot of trouble to take care of both of them at once. Hee hee. So what if we look down on you? If you have the guts, fight with us. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Meng He continued to provoke him. Although Zhu Qingxian didn't say anything, she looked at Night Sorrow with a mocking gaze. Their goal was to provoke Night Sorrow into accepting their challenge. 2 against 1 to eliminate Night Sorrow. If you have the guts, why don't you challenge me one by one? Hearing their words, Night Sorrow sneered and mocked. 2 old birds who have been in the endless sea of stars for many years don't even have the courage to challenge a new student. In front of him, Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were clearly prepared to fight him, so he was not in a hurry. Ha ha ha. The 2 of us have already given you a chance to take revenge by challenging you to a duel. Otherwise, how would you have the chance to face the enemy who crushed your friend's bones? If we were on Night Demon Planet, I'm afraid you wouldn't even have the chance to fight 1 against 2. After Night Sorrow finished, Zhu Qingxian sneered and said. As soon as he finished speaking, Meng He continued to provoke him. Those friends of yours are really tough. It feels good to pinch them. B****. Night Sorrow knew that the 2 of them were deliberately provoking him, but when he heard what they said, the anger in his heart still rose. He looked at the 2 of them coldly and said, I agree to fight with you. But since it's a duel, there must be something. What do you want to bet with me? Ha ha ha. We can bet anything. After all, you don't have the chance to win. Meng He originally didn't want to bet anything. He just wanted to kill Night Sorrow in a duel. When he heard what Meng He said, his interest was piqued. Zhu Qingxian said, I think the coffin in your hand is pretty good. Why don't we use our half-step to Supreme Class Divine Artifacts to bet on your ancient coffin? What do you think? The 2 of them had basically figured out what Night Sorrow had. They felt that the ancient coffin was the most precious item, so they wanted to bet on the ancient coffin. Your bet is Long Tianzhou and the purple snow-glazed cup. After Zhu Qingxian finished speaking, Night Sorrow asked. Of course. Zhu Qingxian confirmed and said provocatively, 1 against 2, do you dare? Haha. Why wouldn't I dare to face 2 pieces of trash like you? Yi Shang mocked disdainfully before he continued, I feel that your wager is lacking in spirit, so I'm going to add something else. Oh. You want to add something to the bet? Ha ha ha. We are willing. What do we have to agree to? You can add anything you want. When Zhu Qingxian heard Night Sorrow's words, he immediately laughed hysterically. Meng He and Meng He's original goal was to lure Night Sorrow into a duel. They didn't expect to gain something. It's simple. I'll use Night Demon Star to bet on Meng He and Qingxian Star. Do you dare to bet? Night Sorrow said coldly. No one in the courtyard had ever mentioned this bet before. It was definitely a huge bet. Hearing this, even a few elders in the Star Hall turned their attention to them. It was not rare to have a duel in the Star Hall. However, they had never seen a bet on a star before. Naturally, they were very curious. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian discussed for a while under the watchful eyes of the elders. They then said in unison, let's bet. There's nothing we don't dare to bet on. However, you have Night Demon Star. It's not easy for the 2 of us to split it. If you add Jialin Star, we'll agree to your bet. All right. However, if the bet is 1-on-1, then the 2 of you will fight me separately. You can't take all the good things. Night Sorrow looked at Meng He and Zhu Qingxian and said word by word. What do you think? After Night Sorrow said that, Meng He looked at Zhu Qingxian. At this moment, he suddenly felt that Night Sorrow had a certain amount of confidence and was somewhat lacking in confidence. What do you think? Let's bet. Night Demon Star is an unmined star. No matter how we look at it, it's still a win for us. Zhu Qingxian replied without hesitation. All right. We'll bet with you. The bet is as we said. When Meng He heard Zhu Qingxuan's words, he didn't hesitate anymore. He immediately agreed. Words are no guarantee. Let's sign a contract. As Night Sorrow spoke, he took out a contract from the space and let Meng He and Zhu Qingxian sign it. At this time, a white-bearded, purple-robed elder from Star Hall said with a smile, it's rare to see such an interesting bet. I'll be the one to sign the contract. My Star Hall's contract can only be exchanged with 100 star points. It's much more binding than your own contract. Once you sign it, you won't regret it. Thank you very much, Elder. Here are 100 star points. Please keep them well. When Night Sorrow heard the purple-robed elder's words, he immediately took back the contract and handed over his star token to the other party to collect the star points. Haha. Since it's a gift from me, I naturally won't collect the star points. Take out this contract and use it. However, I suggest that you don't sign a life and death contract. After all of you are geniuses of the central courtyard. The higher-ups don't want any of you to die. The purple-robed elder said with a smile as he pushed Night Sorrow's star token back to him. Chapter 33-29. Although the purple-robed elder had a smile on his face, his tone gave people a feeling that there was no room for doubt. Obviously, he would not allow anyone to die in today's battle. In fact, it made sense. There were only 33 talented Star Lords in the middle of the Star Ocean. If someone died in every duel, few Star Lords in the infinite sea of stars would be able to grow up. After hearing what he said, Night Sorrow understood what was going on. He knew that the purple-robed elder was not only here to watch the show, but also to preside over the battle and prevent anyone from dying. Therefore, he said, then let's do as the elder says. We only care about winning or losing, not life or death. As for the outcome, please help us witness it. Good. No problem. With me here, no one can go back on their word today. The purple-robed elder looked at Night Sorrow and said. Then, He looked at Meng He and Zhu Qingxian and said, "What do you two think? Since the elder has spoken, we will spare his life. However, if he can't even protect his star body, as a Star Lord, he will be too ashamed to stay in the Star Ocean." After the purple-robed elder finished speaking, Meng He said confidently. In his eyes, Night Sorrow was the fish that had taken the bait. And he and Zhu Qingxian were the choppers on the chopping board. "What about you?" At this time, the purple-robed elder asked Zhu Qingxian. "Brother Meng's opinion is my opinion," Zhu Qingxian said and continued, "Since the elder wants to preside over the battle, how about you open the battle platform for us personally?" "Of course. However, both of you need to sign the contract first." The purple-robed elder stroked his white beard and said, "That's great." After the purple-robed elder finished speaking, Zhu Qingxian immediately signed her name on the contract and dripped her blood. Then, she sent a voice transmission to Meng He, "Today's battle is 2 against 1, which is a bit disgraceful. However, we still need to invite Boss Baron Thorn and Boss Si Ming. I will send a voice transmission to them." "Okay. You inform them. I will sign the contract." Meng He replied and left his name on the contract like Zhu Qingxian. After that, Night Sorrow signed his name on the contract without hesitation. After the three of them signed their names, the purple-robed elder said with a smile, "I will bring you to the battle platform to familiarize yourself. During this time, you can invite your friends to watch the battle. It's not very lively with just the three of you." In fact, the purple-robed elder did this to protect them. After all, it was very likely that one would be seriously injured in a duel. If they gathered their friends, they would be able to receive treatment immediately. "Oh. That's good. Just in time for them to come over and see how I avenge him." After hearing the purple-robed elder's words, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Meng He. He told Meng He Xian Meng He Thorn and asked he Meng He Meng Meng He Meng He Meng, and Meng He Meng He. Meng Meng He Meng? Wasn't this a little too rash? Meng Meng He Meng Meng to Meng He Meng Meng Meng. Meng Meng Meng. Night Sorrow's talent was one of the best in the endless sea of stars. However, he was only a lower heavenly sovereign, while Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were both outstanding upper heavenly sovereigns. Night Sorrow should be able to win 1 against 1, but 1 against 2, that would be a different story. She immediately found Whirling Woman and the others and said, "Everyone, let's interrupt your recovery. The Night Demon is currently gambling with someone else on the battle platform with the enemy who injured you. Let me take you there." "What? Brother Yi is betting with someone? Could we trouble Miss Jia Lin to bring us there?" Bai Mei Sanren immediately said when he heard that Night Sorrow was betting with someone. The others' reactions were similar to Bai Mei Sanren's. Then, under Jia Lin's lead, they arrived at the battle arena. At this time, there were already over 100 spectators gathered on the battle stage. These spectators were Huang Ji, Si Ming, Meng He, and Zhu Qingxuan's subordinates. At this time, they were standing behind Meng He and Zhu Qingxian, cheering them on. There was no one behind Night Sorrow, and it looked very deserted. "Brother Night, I'm here to help you." Seeing that there was no one behind Night Sorrow, which formed a strong contrast with the opposite side, Bai Mei Sanren immediately shouted. However, his voice was too soft and was directly drowned out by the cheers of the other party. "Master, I'll fight with you." At this time, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast suddenly enlarged its body and stood there roaring wildly. It jumped directly onto the stage. He had never called him Master before because he was friends with Yishang. However, Night Sorrow was fighting 1 against 2, so he could not just watch. "Chaos. You're still injured, so don't force yourself. I'm still confident in dealing with these 2 pieces of trash." Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and found that although his cultivation had advanced to the level of upper heavenly sovereign, there were several injuries on his body that had not recovered yet. "We're betting on a battle, so why are you here to fill in the mess? Didn't you get beaten up enough last time?" Seeing the chaotic heavenly crystal beast appear on the battle stage, Meng He immediately provoked unhappily. At this time, the purple-robed elder said, "This is Night Demon's battle pet, and I can feel the connection between them. Night Demon is betting with you, so there's nothing wrong with him going on stage." Battle pet? So that's how it is. Well, then both of you will be tortured together. Meng He immediately understood what was going on when he heard the purple-robed elder's words. He smiled coldly. At this time, Huang Jia, who was sitting at the side of the stage, sized up the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and said, "I didn't notice it last time, but this battle pet is a little interesting. Both of you, help me get it." "Yes." Senior brother Huang Jia. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian replied in unison when they heard Huang Jia's words. "Are you Huang Jia or Arbiter of Fate?" Night Sorrow looked at Huang Jia coldly and asked in return. "You don't deserve to know my name." Huang Jia replied disdainfully when he saw Night Sorrow looking at him with killing intent. "Do you think I'm not worthy? Very well, I'll challenge you in the next round." Night Sorrow looked at Huang Jia and said, then sent a voice transmission to the chaotic heavenly crystal beast, "You haven't recovered yet, enter the eternal divine tower immediately. You're not needed in the current battle." "Alright then." The chaotic heavenly crystal beast still listened to Night Sorrow's words. It immediately entered the eternal divine tower obediently. At this moment, Night Sorrow turned to look at Dancing Lady and the others and said, "From now on, I will help you take revenge bit by bit. We believe in you." Dancing Lady knew that Night Sorrow was ready to be ruthless and looked at Meng He and Zhu Qingxian sympathetically. Bai Mei Sanren, Marquis Lang, and the others had similar looks. They had absolute confidence in Night Sorrow. Chapter 3330. Shameless Boasting. You want to challenge senior brother Huang Ji? Ignorant people are truly fearless. Hearing that Night Sorrow wanted to challenge Huang Ji, Meng He immediately murmured. Meng He immediately said with disdain, and then said with killing intent, "You'd better get past me and Qing Xian first. Although we can't kill you, we'll definitely cripple you today." After that, he sent a voice transmission to Zhu Qingxian, "Don't delay any longer, lest senior brother Huang Ji gets angry." "Alright. Let's test his strength first, then we'll use our trump card." Zhu Qingxian replied. Then, she started to move towards Night Sorrow. At the same time, Meng He also moved. He and Zhu Qingxian were like two corners of a triangle, constantly moving towards Night Sorrow. Although the two of them did not attack, Night Sorrow immediately calmed down. After all, it was 1 against 2. He knew that he could not afford to be careless. Attack! When they were about 10,000 feet away from Night Sorrow, Zhu Qingxian suddenly shouted. Then, she took out a vase-shaped artifact from the space and smashed it towards Night Sorrow's position. The artifact looked similar to the purple snow-glazed cup. However, it was obviously a one-time use replica. When it got close to Night Sorrow, it exploded. The power of the explosion was very strong. After the artifact exploded, Zhu Qingxian summoned a lotus seat. After being summoned, the lotus seat flew into the sky and shone with thousands of rays of light. Night Sorrow, who had just dodged the explosion, was enveloped by the light. Suddenly, he felt his legs go weak and he almost knelt on the ground. "It's working. Let's go." When he saw Night Sorrow, he seemed to be unable to stand properly. Zhu Qingxian immediately shouted. "I've been preparing for this for a long time." At this time, Meng He took out a divine artifact that looked very similar to Long Tianzhou and stepped on it to increase his speed. Then, he used a heavenly supreme level war halberd to slash at Night Sorrow. When Meng He used the war halberd to attack, Zhu Qingxian took out a folding fan and spun it towards Night Sorrow. Moreover, he began to form hand seals, preparing for a long-range attack. "The two of you aren't very strong, but your teamwork is very good." Facing Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's attacks, Night Sorrow frowned and said. He then took out his golden heavenly halberd and unleashed the azure profound divine spear art. With the help of the 9 steps of heaven defying, he used the golden heavenly halberd to send Meng He and Zhu Qingxian flying. This is a half-step supreme class divine artifact. Be careful. Seeing Night Sorrow take out a half-step to supreme class divine weapon, Huang Ji, who was watching from the side, immediately reminded him. I didn't expect you to have a new half-step supreme class divine artifact so soon. Meng He, who was sent flying, stared at the golden heavenly halberd in Night Sorrow's hand in disbelief. In the previous battle, the golden heavenly halberd in Night Sorrow's hand was a heavenly sovereign divine artifact. Who would have thought that in such a short period of time, he would rise to the level of a half-step to the supreme realm? His divine weapon has leveled up. Let's be careful and use a half-step supreme class divine artifact. Seeing the golden heavenly halberd in Night Sorrow's hand, Zhu Qingxian reminded Meng He. At the same time, he took out the purple snow-glazed cup and floated it on his shoulder, attacking Night Sorrow. Last time, your divine artifact didn't have any effect. This time, it will be the same. Facing Zhu Qingxian's purple snow-glazed cup, Night Sorrow roared fearlessly and once again used the golden heavenly halberd to attack. He directly dispersed the purple snow-glazed cup that was emitted by it. Bastard! The purple snow-glazed cup is actually useless? Seeing Night Sorrow's attack on the purple snow-glazed cup with one move, Zhu Qingxian said in disbelief. He took out the half-step supreme class divine artifact, the Rui Zhong Bell, and charged towards Night Sorrow. However, it was easily dodged. At the same time, Meng He used the Dragon Sky Ship. This time, the Dragon Sky Ship was refined by Andrew, and its speed was much faster. Moreover, it had the ability to attack. Once he steered it, he continuously shot arrows at Yi Shang's position from the side of the Dragon Sky boat. These arrows were all at the half-step supreme class. They were very sharp and had the ability to automatically pursue. After Meng He drove the Dragon Sky Ship and shot out about 1,000 arrows, a dragon's roar suddenly came from the void. Then, the arrows that were chasing after Night Sorrow in the void all transformed into dragons. You've made progress. No wonder you're confident that you can defeat me. However, using such an attack is simply sending yourself to death. Seeing Meng He use such a method, Night Sorrow sneered and used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique. After he used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique, a huge Kunpeng immediately appeared in the void. After the Kunpeng appeared, it immediately swallowed the arrows that had turned into dragons in the void. The way he swallowed was like a giant whale in the vast ocean, opening its mouth and swallowing thousands of small fish. Without any effort, it swallowed all the arrows shot out by the Dragon Sky Ship. Then, the Kunpeng opened its mouth and tried to swallow the Dragon Sky Ship. But at this time, it was almost exhausted and directly disappeared in the void. That was close. Just now, when the Kunpeng tried to swallow the Dragon Sky Ship, Meng He felt a strong sense of fear. Brother Meng, don't be afraid. After all, the two of us are fighting side by side. At this time, Zhu Qingxian comforted him and used the Rui Bell again to charge at Night Sorrow. His strongest technique was his left hand. But with the previous battle experience, he did not dare to use it casually before the ancient coffin appeared. He was afraid of losing another hand. This time, the Rui Bell that was charging at Night Sorrow was obviously different from before. When Night Sorrow faced it, he felt that he was locked in place and had a feeling that he could not avoid it. This divine artifact has also been strengthened. When Night Sorrow came to his senses, he immediately understood that the Rui Bell was the same as the Dragon Sky Ship. They had both been strengthened. After hesitating for a moment, he suddenly activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique and activated the Green Phoenix armor. He waved his left palm and directly slapped at the Rui Bell. Bastard! He is learning from me. He knows that my left palm is powerful. Seeing Night Sorrow use his left palm to attack the Rui Bell, Zhu Qingxian immediately shouted in anger. What surprised him even more was that Night Sorrow was not pushed back by the strengthened Rui Bell. Instead, he sent the Rui bell flying. He immediately roared, "That's impossible. Could it be that his attack is at the level of half-step to Supreme Realm? Don't be agitated. It should be the armor on his body that has given him a certain amount of help. If each of his attacks has the strength of half-step to Supreme Realm, then we will definitely lose today. But that's impossible. How can a lower Heavenly Supreme have the combat strength of half-step to Supreme Realm?" Seeing that Zhu Qingxian had lost his composure, Meng He immediately comforted him. Then, he transmitted his voice, "We can't go on like this. Let's use the divine artifacts that we borrowed from the two bosses." When Zhu Qingxian heard this, he glanced at Night Sorrow and said, "That's the only way." Chapter 33-31. As Zhu Qingxian recovered Meng He, a trace of uneasiness flashed through her heart. Because in the previous battle, Night Sorrow had relied on that strange ancient coffin to gain the upper hand. This time, not only did he not take out the ancient coffin, he did not even use the eternal divine tower and easily suppressed the two of them. This feeling made her very depressed. She secretly said, "Fortunately, the two of us have the life artifacts of senior brother Huang Ji and senior brother Si Ming. Prepare to die." While Zhu Qingxian was thinking, Meng He had already summoned a large black cauldron and smashed it towards Night Sorrow. "Not good. Night Demon, be careful, this is Huang Ji's life artifact. Half-step to extreme state artifact, Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron. Its power is very terrifying." Seeing Meng He summon Huang Ji's life artifact, Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron, Jia Lin immediately sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow, reminding him to be careful. No wonder they are so confident. It turns out that they have obtained someone else's life artifact. But don't worry, life artifacts are things like life artifacts. Only when the person controls them can they erupt with the strongest combat power. When Meng He uses it, it shouldn't be that terrifying. Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Jia Lin and directly activated the Destruction Divine ability. When the Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron smashed over, he increased his speed and prepared to dodge it. However, this Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron was clearly very intelligent. It actually quickly chased after Night Sorrow in the void. At the same time, Zhu Qingxian also borrowed the Qinkuan hidden sword from Si Ming and shot it towards Night Sorrow. This Qinkuan hidden sword was a green sword that looked like a bamboo joint. Its speed was very fast. After being shot out, it chased after Night Sorrow together with the Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron. Facing the pursuit of the two divine artifacts, Night Sorrow used 9 heaven-defying steps to dodge. Night Sorrow, who could not use the ancient coffin and eternal divine tower, was completely enraged. He immediately burned his Phoenix bloodline, Jia Lin bloodline and Likan bloodline. After the 3 bloodlines were burned, Night Sorrow's aura suddenly increased qualitatively. He gave off the feeling that he was half a step into the Supreme Realm. After his aura stabilized, Night Sorrow used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to fight against the myriad June Source Qi Cauldron and Universe Hidden Sword. Although these two divine weapons were not Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's natal divine weapons, they were still very powerful when they were used. However, it also tied up their energy. While Night Sorrow was fighting against the two divine weapons, the two of them stood still and did not use any other attacks. This kid is not ordinary. It seemed like Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were right. He could not be allowed to live. He had to kill them as soon as possible. Otherwise, if we let him grow, we won't be able to survive in the endless sea of stars. Seeing that Night Sorrow was able to fight against Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's two divine artifacts, they were shocked. Baron Thorn, who was watching from the sidelines, immediately said maliciously. At the same time, he remembered Night Sorrow's words. If Night Sorrow could win this battle, he would definitely challenge him. He had already started to think about how he could quickly suppress Night Sorrow. Judging from the combat strength that Night Sorrow had displayed, even he might be able to defeat him. Yes. This Night Demon is too big of a threat. We can't let him grow. Even if it means breaking some rules, we have to kill him. Si Ming's face was also a little serious. He was no longer as carefree as before. He could feel that if Night Sorrow advanced another 1 or 2 cultivation stages, he and Baron Thorn would be easily defeated. The sense of superiority in his heart had been completely shattered. The purple-robed elder who was watching from the sidelines saw the battle and could not help but nod his head. Obviously, he recognized Night Sorrow's ability. Then, he sent a voice transmission to Jia Lin. This kid is very close to you. Is he also one of Ji Xian's men? Teacher Ji Xian recommended Night Demon to enter the middle court. Jia Lin immediately replied when he heard the voice transmission. She knew that the purple-robed elder had a high status in Star Hall. Therefore, she did not dare to hide it from him. Okay, I got it. As the purple-robed elder replied, he began to think about how to improve his relationship with Night Sorrow. This was because he could see that Night Sorrow had the aura of a supreme supremacy in the battle. There were less than 5 cultivators in the endless sea of stars who had such an aura. In the future, if he did not die unexpectedly, Night Sorrow would definitely grow into another overlord in the endless sea of stars. He would not have to rely on others like other cultivators. Jia Lin, Bai Mei Sanren, and the others were very worried about Night Sorrow. This was because the 2 divine weapons controlled by Meng He and Zhu Qingxian gave off a very dangerous feeling. There was a powerful aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. Moreover, Night Sorrow was indeed having a hard time fighting against it. He had been hit several times in a row. Fortunately, Night Sorrow had the Leaken bloodline and his recovery ability was very strong. As the battle progressed, his injuries healed on their own. After being suppressed by the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Sleeve Sword for an hour, Night Sorrow gradually found that Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's divine souls were not strong enough. In the situation where their divine souls were not strong enough, the 2 of them were still controlling the 2 divine weapons. However, the power of the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Sleeve Sword had decreased. If the power of the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Sleeve Sword had decreased a little, I would have a chance to use the Nirvana Heart Flame. As long as I can successfully use it, the 2 of them will definitely lose. In the process of continuing to fight against the 2 divine weapons, Night Sorrow secretly thought. Compared to the worried Bai Mei Sanren and the others, his confidence was very strong. This confidence mainly came from the powerful recovery ability of the Leaken bloodline. As the battle progressed, not only did the injuries on his body recover, but his divine origin force and divine soul power were also constantly recovering. Moreover, the backlash from the destruction divine ability did not appear at all and was dissolved by the Leaken bloodline. This feeling was very mysterious. It made Night Sorrow feel that even if he fought continuously for 10 days and 10 nights, he would still be able to maintain his peak state. This was an incomparably horrifying ability. The 3 people fighting until now, Huang Jia at the sidelines similarly saw through Night Sorrow's aura. It was completely different from Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. He said in shock, "Not good." This night devil fought for so long and did not consume any medicinal pills, but his aura did not weaken at all. At this rate, Meng He and Zhu Qingxian definitely can't hold on. This battle, they lost. Oh. Is that so? Hearing this, Arbiter started to observe the battle on the field seriously. Only then did he say in surprise, "It's really like this. How did he do it? No way. He possesses this kind of ability, even I'm not his match either. If he issues a challenge to me in a while, whether I accept or not, it will be very uncomfortable. I'll leave first today." After observing for a while more, Huang Jia completely confirmed that Night Sorrow practically did not expend any divine essence energy when fighting. Recalling Night Sorrow's words of preparing to challenge him, he quietly left the decisive battlefield. Seeing Huang Jia's departing figure in his eyes, the purple-robed elder could not help shaking his head. Chapter 33-32. Combined with the conversation between Night Sorrow and Baron Thorn before the battle. The purple-robed elder who watched Baron Thorn leave felt that Baron Thorn was too cowardly. Escaping under such circumstances was even more humiliating than losing the battle. However, this was Baron Thorn's territory, so he naturally did not stop him. After he left, the purple-robed elder's gaze once again locked onto Night Sorrow and the other two who were in the midst of the battle. At this moment, Night Sorrow was becoming more and more skillful in the battle. He felt like his face was glowing with health. As for Meng He and Zhu Qingxian who were controlling the two divine weapons, their bodies were already drenched in sweat as they floated in the air. It was obvious that the battle was extremely tough and they could not hold on any longer. From the purple-robed elder's point of view, the battle had already reached a conclusion. The only suspense was when the battle would end. Seeing Baron Thorn escape, Jia Lin transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. Night Devil, Baron Thorn has left. You'd better quickly end the battle in front of you. I'm afraid that he will go to your Night Devil star to cause trouble. All right. This battle will end very soon. Night Sorrow replied to Jia Lin and then glanced at the side of the battlefield, just in time to see Baron Thorn's back. Then, he found an opportunity to use the Nirvana Heart Fire. Using this move, he attacked Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's divine souls. At this moment, Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's energy was all on the Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Hidden Sword. Facing Night Sorrow's Nirvana Heart Fire, the Divine Origin Trap Array and the 100 Words Mantra, how could they resist? The two of them were directly injured and fell from the sky. When the two of them fell to the ground, the Wanjun Source Qi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Hidden Sword that had lost control also stopped. They landed on the ground. Amazing. We won. Seeing this scene, Hasa Woman and Su Lei shouted at the same time. They were happy for Night Sorrow. Needless to say, White-Browed Wanderer, Marquis Lang, and the others were almost jumping up and down. Jia Lin's gaze was a little strange. This was because she realized that Night Sorrow's battle prowess had increased by a large margin not long after he left. This made her feel somewhat powerless, and she felt that she could no longer keep up with his footsteps. Damn it. He actually lost. Meng He, who had fallen to the ground and was unable to get up at all, shouted unwillingly. However, he didn't even have the strength to get up, so he naturally understood that he was powerless to reverse the situation. Zhu Qingxian, who was originally very arrogant, was the same. Her entire person was like a frosted eggplant, completely wilting. Lying on the ground, he did not move at all. He did not even have the face to raise his head. The cultivators who came to support them all sighed in disappointment. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow looked at the purple-robed elder and said, "Elder, now that the battle has reached this point, can you announce my victory?" Haha. The two of them have already lost their ability to fight, so of course you win. The violet-robed elder gazed at Night Sorrow and said, "You can collect the spoils now." What he meant was naturally to have Night Sorrow put away the 30,000 June Source Qi Cauldron and the Universe Hidden Sword. Killing people was out of the question, but seizing treasures was possible. Thank you for the reminder, Elder. Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately understood and kept the 30,000 June Source Qi Cauldron, the Universe Hidden Sword, the Rui Bell, the Long Tianzhou and the purple snow-glazed cup into the Eternal Divine Tower. Haha. We're rich this time. Which one can we absorb? Little Five immediately asked excitedly after keeping the 5 half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts into the Eternal Divine Tower. In the battle to destroy the altar, the Eternal Divine Tower had expended too much energy, and now it didn't have any energy to participate at all. This was also the reason why it couldn't help Night Sorrow during the battle. At this moment, it was naturally very excited to keep so many half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts. The 30,000 June Source Qi Cauldron, the Universe Hidden Sword and the Long Tianzhou are not bad, you can keep them. As for the other two, you can absorb them as rations. Night Sorrow said and let Little Five absorb the Rui Bell and the purple snow-glazed cup. However, at this moment, the purple-robed elder suddenly said, "Night Demon, let me remind you of something. Half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts can be exchanged for star points in the Star Hall, and the amount of star points that can be exchanged is not low. Oh. There's such a thing? Thank you for the reminder, Elder. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow immediately smiled. Now, he didn't lack any half-step Paramount Realm divine artifacts at all. He could use them to exchange for some star points, and then use the star points to buy other useful things. Let me remind you again, the 30,000 June Source Chi Cauldron and the Universe Hidden Sword are Huang Jia and Si Ming's natal divine artifacts. You may not be afraid of the two of them. But the people behind them, you can't afford to offend them now. So these two divine artifacts, you can't keep them at all. You might as well use them to exchange for star points. As for the Long Tianzhou, it doesn't matter. After Knight Sorrow thanked him, the purple-robed elder reminded him again. As one of the elders with real power in the Star Hall, he naturally knew some things about the endless sea of stars. He knew that Huang Jia and Si Ming had backers. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow immediately said, "Elder, how can these two items be exchanged for star points?" Very simple, go to the 5th level of the Star Hall. After the purple-robed elder finished speaking, he continued, "I have to remind you of something. If you want to use the divine artifacts to exchange for star points, then hurry up." When I saw Huang Jia leave, his face was full of viciousness. It might be detrimental to your star body. Thank you, Elder, for your reminder. May I know Elder's name? If they have the chance, Night Devil will definitely repay them. The purple-robed elder's words immediately reminded Night Sorrow of Jia Lin's words. He immediately started to worry for Night Devil Star. "My name is Purplebeard, go and do your thing." After Purplebeard finished speaking, he took the contract between Meng Hexing and Qing Xian Star from the two of them and handed it to Night Sorrow. At the same time, he urged him. Since he had achieved his goal of befriending Night Sorrow, he immediately left and didn't have much contact with him. At the same time that Purplebeard left, Night Sorrow used his blood to sign the contract with Meng Hexing and Qing Xian Star. Then, after greeting Bai Mei Sanren and the others, he transmitted his voice to Jia Lin, "Bring my friend back to Jia Lin Star. I need to return to Night Devil Star immediately. You have to be careful. Although Huang Jia escaped, he's not that easy to deal with." After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Jia Lin immediately knew what he was going to do and immediately warned him. "Don't worry. I have confidence in dealing with him." After saying this, Night Sorrow immediately looked for a starship and rushed back to his Night Devil Star. He didn't even exchange for star points. While Night Sorrow was rushing to Night Devil Star, Jia Lin brought many of Night Sorrow's friends onto another starship and rushed towards Jia Lin Star. But they had just left the Star Hall not long ago. Chapter 33-33. Who's there? Come out, you coward. Seeing that the starship was stopped and no one came out, Jia Lin shouted. In fact, she had already guessed the identity of the person before he appeared. Baron Thorn might have gone to Night Demon Planet to wreak havoc, and Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were almost crippled. The most likely person to stop her was Si Ming and his subordinates. As it turned out, her guess was right. The people who had stopped the starship were Si Ming and his subordinates. Si Ming walked out of the starship slowly and stood on the deck. He looked at Jia Lin coldly and said, "I don't want to fight today. Take your friends with you and come with me." His main target was obviously Yi Shang's friends. His goal was naturally to use these people to trade for his Qinquan hidden sword. At the same time, he wanted to extort something from Night Sorrow. "What if I say that I don't want to go with you?" Jia Lin stood on the starship and looked at Si Ming coldly. She was helping Night Sorrow protect his friends. If she was threatened by Si Ming, she would surrender immediately. That would be too shameful. Haha. If you don't want to come with me, my men and I will have to use force. Once we leave Star Hall, there will be no restrictions. Be careful, I will kill you. After Jia Lin finished speaking, Si Ming immediately said maliciously. If I remember correctly, your Qian Kuan hidden blade is with Night Sorrow. You are just a toothless tiger now. You might not be stronger than me. Jia Lin looked at Si Ming coldly. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow to tell him what was happening. What? Si Ming brought his men to stop you. I will go there immediately. At this moment, Night Sorrow was on a starship heading to Night Demon Planet. This starship belonged to the Academy and could not change its course as it pleased. He had to reach Night Demon Planet first, return to Star Hall, and then head to Jialin Planet. Only then would he be able to meet Jialin and the others. I'm just telling you that I might not be able to stop Si Ming. But I will try my best. By the time you get here, the battle must have already ended. In my opinion, why don't you continue to go to Night Demon Planet to look for Baron Thorn? Even if we fall into Si Ming's hands, we still have a bargaining chip. Jia Lin naturally knew that based on the current situation, Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to make it in time. However, she would be able to face it safely after she finished talking about this matter. With that said, Jia Lin unleashed his god domain facing Si Ming and the others. This was the rhythm of preparing for battle. Haha. You really dare to attack us? Let me tell you, what you're doing will only bring disaster to yourself. I, Si Ming, will not let you go today. Seeing that Jia Lin really released his divine domain, Si Ming sneered and ordered, "Follow me and capture Jia Lin. Remember, I want to capture him alive. Then torture her. No one can kill him. Who dares to step onto this starship today? I must kill him." Jia Lin, who had completely unleashed his god domain, immediately took out the green chessboard. With Night Sorrow's help, she had been researching the uses of this divine weapon ever since she obtained it. A few days ago, she had finally mastered it completely. With me here, who can you kill? Hearing Jia Lin's domineering shout, her subordinates were more or less intimidated by his aura. Si Ming shouted in disdain. She took the lead and stepped onto Jia Lin's starship. It was only after Si Ming stepped onto the ship that his heavenly sovereign subordinates followed suit. On the huge starship, they approached Jia Lin step by step. Seeing Si Ming and the others approaching, Whirling Lady immediately said, "Let me out, I can fight." "Let me out too. I can fight too." Marquis Lang also said. His strength was slightly stronger than Whirling Lady's. However, he had been seriously injured by Si Ming and the others last time and had yet to fully recover. However, in a head-on battle, he could still unleash a certain amount of combat strength. Although he couldn't defeat Si Ming, he should be able to contend with her subordinates. Then, Xian Nian also shouted, "I can fight too, let me out." Haha. How can I, Ape Tianlai, be left out of this battle? Let me out too. Ape Tianlai, who was also injured, didn't want to be left behind. As for the others, they didn't speak. Firstly, they weren't strong enough, and secondly, they were more seriously injured. Even if they were summoned, they probably wouldn't be of much help. Good. Friends of the Night Demon, you are indeed very courageous. Then you will fight with me. Today, I will kill all these arrogant people here. With so many people stepping forward, Jia Lin, who had thought that he would be fighting alone, was suddenly moved. Haha. You have taken care of us for so long, you are naturally our friend. Let us fight side by side. Ape Tianlai roared and looked at Si Ming and the others. You want to capture us to threaten the Night Demon? You have a good plan. But I don't think you have that kind of strength. Humph. How dare you, a bunch of shrimp soldiers and crab generals, speak so arrogantly in the endless sea of stars. Have you forgotten the pain back then? Si Ming looked at Whirling Lady, Ape Tianlai, and the others and said disdainfully. Today, I will avenge my friends. It was a mistake for you to step onto the starship today. Netherworld. At this time, Jia Lin roared and controlled the green chessboard to cover the surrounding space. Even the starship was transferred to the chessboard. When the starship was bound by the Netherworld, Jia Lin immediately controlled the chessboard to release a thick fog in the air. This aura was something that she and Night Sorrow had encountered in the ancient ruins. It required a very powerful eye technique to see through it. And Si Ming and the others in front of them did not have the eyesight of Whirling Lady or Night Sorrow. For a moment, they were completely lost in it. Boss. What is going on? Trapped in the fog, one of Si Ming's subordinates said with a trembling voice. He could not see anything around him, which made him feel very insecure. We must have been trapped by Jia Lin's divine weapon. Don't panic and don't move. I will think of a way to break it. They could not see anything in front of them. Si Ming felt that if they walked here, they would definitely panic. He ordered everyone to stop while he took out a broken spear. This broken spear's aura was very terrifying. It was even stronger than Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd. After Si Ming took out the broken spear, he activated it with his divine essence and stabbed it at the chessboard under his feet. Wang. After Si Ming used the broken spear to hit the chessboard, the entire space shook. At the same time, it also damaged Jia Lin's green chessboard. However, he did not use this attack to break open the space. Jia Lin, who discovered this, immediately said to everyone, they should not be able to break open the netherworld for a while. This is our chance to win. Follow me and kill. Chapter 33-34. Good. We'll follow you. However, I can't see anything in this space. After hearing Jia Lin's voice transmission, Yuan Tianlai responded helplessly. Pasua, use your eye technique to fight. Everyone else, listen to my command. Jia Lin naturally knew that Ape Tianlai and the others were unable to see through the fog. After he spoke, he began to command everyone to move. Whirling Woman, on the other hand, had a good eye technique. She could see through the fog in front of her. After using her eye technique, Hassa discovered that Jia Lin had summoned the chessboard from the deck of the starship. Everyone was trapped inside. If Si Ming and the others hadn't boarded the ship, they probably wouldn't have been trapped by the netherworld. At this moment, she suddenly understood that Jia Lin's threat to kill whoever boarded the ship was actually a provocation. He looked at Si Ming and the others and said, "You brought this upon yourselves." On the other hand, Jia Lin commanded Yuan Tianlai, Xian Nian, and Marquis Lang to attack Si Ming and her subordinates. In the fog, Si Ming and the others were practically blind. Basically, they would only be able to sense it when everyone's attacks were close to them. As a result, he was hit many times in a row. Under such circumstances, Si Ming was completely driven mad. She kept smashing the chessboard with her broken spear. The netherworld was constantly being attacked. The netherworld was under constant attacks and Jia Lin immediately transmitted a message to everyone. Si Ming's divine artifact is too powerful. The netherworld shouldn't be able to last much longer. Everyone, do your best to inflict heavy damage on them during this period of time. Otherwise, we won't have a good time. Good. Let's all use our strongest attacks. Hearing Jia Lin's words, Ape Tianlai and the others immediately took out their divine artifacts. They attacked Si Ming and the others. In the beginning, their target was Arbiter of Fate. However, after attacking a few times, they realized that Si Ming's defense was quite high, and their attacks were not very effective. Under such circumstances, Jia Lin said, "If everyone can kill the others quickly, I have a way to severely injure Si Ming." The method she was talking about was the attack she had used on the chess saint in the ancient ruins. Unleashing a skill of this level would exhaust all of Jia Lin's strength. Thus, he had to wait until Si Ming's subordinates were all killed before he could unleash the skill. This was to prevent her from being captured by Si Ming's subordinates after she ran out of spirit energy. We might not be able to kill Si Ming, but we should be able to deal with some small fries. Hearing this, Dancing Woman immediately used Descent of All Evil on Si Ming. Then, he cast the 1,000 illusion eyes at Si Ming's subordinates. He summoned 3,000 black holes and launched a series of attacks on them. At this moment, Jia Lin was preparing his strongest attack and had yet to make a move. However, it kept reminding everyone of Si Ming and the others' location. Following it, Yuan Tianlai, Xian Nian, and Marquis Wolf began to bombard Si Ming's subordinates, while they were temporarily suppressing Si Ming and the others. Night Sorrow's starship had also arrived at Night Devil Planet. After arriving at Night Devil Planet, Night Sorrow immediately rushed back to his palace and discovered that his palace had indeed been destroyed by Baron Thorn. As for Huang Ji, who had destroyed Night Demon Planet, he was sitting on his own starship, floating in the void near Night Demon Planet. He was looking at Night Sorrow provocatively. Night Sorrow realized that Baron Thorn was provoking him. Because he did not have his own starship, he could not attack Baron Thorn even if he wanted to. He boarded the starship again and prepared to go to the Star Hall to exchange a few half-step Supreme State Divine artifacts for star points and then buy his own starship. At this moment, Baron Thorn sneered, "I know what you're going to do. Go to the Star Hall and buy a starship. And I will destroy all the buildings on Night Devil Planet, Menghe Planet, and Qing Xian Planet. You can just wait to rebuild them. Bastard. After I buy the starship, I will destroy your Baron Thorn planet immediately." Hearing Baron Thorn's words, Night Sorrow was immediately enraged. He originally thought that Baron Thorn was going to cause trouble on Night Devil Planet. He did not expect him to include Menghe Planet and Qing Xian Planet. Haha. I'll wait for you. After Baron Thorn finished speaking, he steered the starship towards Menghe Planet. Night Sorrow, who knew what he was going to do, immediately shouted, "Baron Thorn, I will kill you." "Humph, with just you? You don't have that ability." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Baron Thorn immediately replied in disdain. However, he still felt a little guilty. After all, Night Sorrow's ability and potential were extremely terrifying. After Baron Thorn steered the starship far away, Night Sorrow also rushed towards the Star Hall. Before Night Sorrow reached the Star Hall, Jia Lin sent a voice transmission. "Fortunately, I did not disappoint you. Fortunately, I didn't let you down. You defeated Arbiter?" Night Sorrow immediately asked in surprise after receiving Jia Lin's voice transmission. "Yes. Si Ming was sealed by the green chessboard, then she was hit by my strongest technique and was instantly killed. However, I've consumed too much energy and no longer have the ability to fight against the pirate skull. Quickly come and help us," Jia Lin said helplessly. At this moment, she had consumed too much energy, and so did Dancing Lady and the others. Facing the pirate skull that was about to attack, there was nothing they could do. After hearing this, Night Sorrow, who had reached the Star Hall, no longer had the mood to exchange for star points. He immediately entered the coordinates of Jia Lin's planet on the starship and chased after them. About an hour later, he finally saw Jia Lin and the others who were attacked by the pirate skull. At this moment, Jia Lin, Dancing Lady, Ape Tianlai, Xian Nian, and Marquis Lang had already been gnawed by the pirate skull. Almost everyone's bones were exposed. They looked extremely ferocious. Seeing this scene, how could Night Sorrow endure it? He directly flew onto their starship and fought with the pirate skull. After a round of battle, the first wave of pirate skull was completely killed. After dealing with the pirate skull, Night Sorrow took out some pills and distributed them to the 5 of them. He told them to quickly consume them. At the same time, he cut his finger and dripped his blood on their wounds. He said, "My blood has the Leaken bloodline. Although one drop can't let you obtain the Leaken bloodline, it can help you recover faster." "Good. Thank you." Upon hearing this, Jia Lin said weakly, "No. I should be the one thanking you. This time, it's all thanks to you. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable." Friends were very important to Night Sorrow. If they were controlled, it would definitely be a nightmare. At this moment, Night Sorrow was very grateful to Jia Lin. After thinking for a moment, he took out some Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold and handed it to Jia Lin. He said, "Your offensive divine artifact is complete. Use this extreme flame phoenix gold to create a defensive battle armor. We are friends. There's no need to be so polite. Seeing Night Sorrow take out the extreme flame phoenix gold, Jia Lin immediately declined. Since we are friends, don't decline. I still have some here. Take these. Yi Shang immediately tried to persuade Jia Lin when he saw Jia Lin decline. After his and the others' persuasion, Jia Lin accepted these resources. After everyone arrived at Jia Lin's planet, Night Sorrow immediately brought them back to the Star Hall to exchange for their starship. Chapter 33-35. After what happened just now, Night Sorrow was not prepared to leave everyone on planet Jialin. Instead, he would keep them in his space grotto heaven and bring them with him. Only in this way would he no longer be on tenterhooks. Elder Purple Beard. As soon as he walked into the Star Hall, he saw the purple-robed elder pacing in the hall on the first floor. He immediately went forward and said, "Night Devil greets Elder Purple Beard." Hee. You came so quickly. You really exceeded my imagination. Has the problem been solved? Purple Beard had already thought that Night Sorrow would attract the revenge of Baron Thorn and Arbiter after defeating Meng Shi and Zhu Qingxian in the gambling battle. However, he did not expect him to come to the Star Hall so quickly. This proved that he had already solved the problem. Hearing Elder Purplebeard's question, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "With the help of a friend, I was lucky enough to solve the problem." At this time, Night Sorrow thought of the matter of Arbiter being killed, so he asked, "Oh right, Elder. Will you be punished for killing a Star-Lord in the endless sea of stars?" On the jade slip of Vice Principal Ji Xian, it recorded that he could not kill a Star-Lord in the middle of the courtyard. However, it did not say whether he would be punished or not. Night Sorrow really did not know. What? Who did you kill? Hearing this, Purplebeard immediately asked in surprise. Arbiter intercepted the starship and attacked us. She has already been killed. Night Sorrow said slowly. This matter might have a lot of implications. He did not say Jia Lin's name. Jia Lin, who was in the space grotto heaven, naturally understood what was going on. He immediately sent a voice transmission, "Thank you." Night Sorrow replied, "It's still the same sentence. I should be the one thanking you. As for the follow-up, I won't push you out. If Arbiter took the initiative to find trouble with you in the endless sea of stars, then being killed is nothing. But she is Vice Principal Nangong's person. Vice Principal Nangong and Vice Principal Andrew are on good terms. They might do something about this matter. You have to be careful." Those two were the kind of people who would haggle over every little detail. Vice Principal Ji Xian might not be able to suppress them. After hearing this, Purplebeard immediately reminded Night Sorrow. His voice was very soft for the second half of his sentence. He was afraid that the walls might have ears. In fact, he was also a former student of Slaughterer Academy. However, he was promoted to an elder after advancing to half-step Paramount Realm. Come to think of it, it was Vice Principal Ji Xian who had brought him here. "Thank you, Elder Zi Su." Night Sorrow thanked him and asked, "Elder, I'll use a half-step to Supreme-Class Divine Weapon to exchange for the star points. As you said, I can go straight to the 5th level?" He also understood that Si Ming's death was not easy to resolve. But for now, other than informing Vice Dean Ji Xian, he had no other choice. He decided not to think too much about it and decided to get the item first. Yes. Go and change. Also, after you're done, hurry up and contact Vice Principal Ji Xian behind you. Let him help you deal with it. Vice Presidents Nangong and Andrew were both at the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Other than the 3 presidents, they were basically invincible. They were not to be trifled with. Don't treat them as ordinary half-step Supreme Realm cultivators. When facing them, one must show more respect. There must be no conflict. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Zi Su reminded him in a low voice. Although the three vice presidents were the same as the elders and were all half-step Supreme Realm cultivators, there was still a difference in strength. Fourth grade of half-step Supreme Realm? Hearing this, Knight Sorrow immediately asked in confusion, Elder Zisu, half-step Supreme Realm is divided into grades? This was the first time he had heard of this matter, so he naturally wanted to know more. Although half-step Supreme Realm is only one step away from the Supreme Realm, it will trap most people in the world. The difference in strength between half-step Supreme Realm cultivators is very big. Therefore, it is divided into 5 grades. Each grade is similar to the difference between the lower and middle grades. Elder Zisu explained and continued, for example, I'm at the 2nd grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. And among the geniuses in the endless sea of stars, the strongest is currently at the 3rd grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. With your strength, you should be able to challenge the 1st grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. It will be very difficult to deal with the 2nd grade. The 3rd grade will definitely crush you. The 3 vice presidents can easily kill you in an instant. So that's how it is. Thank you for telling me, Elder. After hearing Zisu's words, Knight Sorrow thanked him immediately. He had thought about this in the past, but it was merely a guess. To think that half-step Supreme Realm was divided into grades. After thinking for a moment, he asked again, right, Elder Zisu? How are the grades divided? Or rather, how are they differentiated? That's a little complicated. You'll only be able to understand it after you enter half-step Supreme Realm. Generally speaking, it's just that the Tao runes of cultivators are different, similar to the growth rings of trees. Only half-step Supreme Realm cultivators can tell how many levels of Tao runes each other has. Elder Zisu said slowly. He was rather impressed with Knight Sorrow. Otherwise, he would not have said so much to him. Thank you, Elder. I'll take my leave now. After hearing that, Knight Sorrow thanked him once more before leading everyone from the spatial grotto heaven to level 5 of the Star Hall. Sigh. What a pity. Zisu, who was watching Knight Sorrow leave, sighed in his heart. He knew very well that offending Nan Gongha and Andrew would definitely not have a good ending. He felt that Knight Sorrow's future had become uncertain. Knight Sorrow, who did not know what Zisu was thinking, calmed down after reaching the 5th floor. He first sent a voice transmission to Vice Principal Ji Xian and then found the exchange points. He exchanged the 10,000 June Source Chi Cauldron and the Qinkuan Hidden Sword for star points. These 2 half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifacts were both evaluated as top-notch first-grade artifacts. Each of them was exchanged for 10,000 star points. Yi Shang immediately used the 20,000 star points to exchange for 2 Grade 1 starships. He kept one for himself and gave the other to Jia Lin. At the same time, he also knew that the 5th floor of the Star Hall, whether it was missions or items, corresponded to the 1st grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. The 6th floor corresponded to the 2nd grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. The 7th floor corresponded to the 3rd grade. The 8th floor corresponded to the 4th grade. The 9th floor corresponded to the 5th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Accepting missions or buying and selling things had to be done on the corresponding floor. However, Knight Sorrow originally wanted to accept a mission on the 5th floor, but it was rejected. It turned out that to accept missions from the Star Hall, one had to start from the 1st floor. Only by completing at least one mission on the first 4 floors could one accept the mission on the 5th floor. Then, Knight Sorrow went to the 1st floor to accept a mission. The mission on the 1st floor corresponded to the cultivation level of a half-step Sky Supreme. It was to casually kill a half-step Sky Supreme Star Beast. After completing the mission, Knight Sorrow prepared to kill the Star Beast to complete the mission. But at this time, Jia Lin reminded him, Night Devil. I think we should go and see Teacher Ji Xian first. This way, we can also make some preparations in advance to deal with the 2 vice principals. If you do the mission here, I'm afraid you'll give them plenty of time to plot against you. I've already considered what you said. However, I sent a voice transmission to Teacher Ji Xian, but I didn't get a response. Since that's the case, why don't we take things as they come? After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, He flew out of the star hall and searched for star beasts on the planet he was on. Chapter 33-36. I really admire your ability to remain calm in the face of danger. If it were me, I would have panicked. In fact, if I had confidence in my own abilities, I wouldn't have attacked so hard and killed Ximing instantly. I've caused a lot of trouble by killing him. Jia Lin said with some self-blame. Before joining forces with Night Sorrow, she had always thought that she wasn't a match for Huang Ji and Arbiter of Life. She never imagined that she would be able to instantly kill them in a single move in the Netherworld. Killing a genius in the endless sea of stars would cause a huge loss to Lu Tian Academy. She would definitely be punished. When she thought about how Yi Shan might be targeted, she felt very apologetic. It's not your fault. He asked for it. If I had arrived, would have killed him instantly too. Also, I'm not going to let Huang Jia off easily. If I'm not wrong, he must have gone into hiding after destroying planet Menghe and planet Qingxian. Night Sorrow said coldly. Huang Jia did not dare to fight him head-on. After destroying planet Menghe and planet Qingxian, he must have gone into hiding. He should not be able to find him now. As for destroying planet Desolate Thorn with a starship, he had wanted to do it. However, after talking to Elder Purplebeard, he felt that he should calm down and make Huang Jia and Ximing look even more rude. When the time came, Vice Dean Ji Xian would defend him and have something to say. I understand. At such a time, you're doing the mission step by step. It shows that you're magnanimous. When the time comes, the two Vice Deans will have nothing to say. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Jia Lin immediately understood some of his thoughts. Yes. Also, I'm not going to drag you, Pasua, and the rest into this. You should quickly recover in the Eternal Divine Tower. When you've recovered, I'll send you to Teacher Ji Xian temporarily. We can't stay in the endless sea of stars for now. After all, they might play dirty tricks. Night Sorrow said and continued to look for star beasts. Soon, he found one and killed it. After completing the mission on the first level, he successfully completed the missions on the second, third, and fourth levels. He returned to the fifth level. Accept a mission to kill a giant crocodile. However, just as Night Sorrow steered his starship into the boundless sea of stars and searched for the star crocodile according to the coordinates given to him, an incomparably huge starship suddenly appeared and intercepted his starship. Who is it? Night Sorrow asked in confusion when his starship was stopped. This was because he couldn't see who was inside the starship even though he had activated the Sea Serpent's eye. Furthermore, he couldn't detect it even when he used his spiritual energy. At this time, Jia Lin, who was in the space grotto heaven, warned, not good. Night Demon. This is Su Zhetian's battleship. This is a second-grade warship. A second-grade warship? So the Su Zhetian you speak of is at the second stage of the half-step Supreme Realm? Hearing Jia Lin's words, Night Sorrow immediately asked. Yes. Su Zhetian's cultivation was at the second stage of the half-step pinnacle stage. At the same time, he was also recommended by Vice Principal Nan Gonghe to enter the middle court. Jia Lin explained Su Zhetian's identity and reminded him, if he provokes us, we'll try our best to endure it. I know what to do. Night Sorrow replied Jia Lin. However, he knew that he wasn't someone who would give in easily. If the other party's words went overboard, he wouldn't rule out the possibility of a fight. At this moment, a few people slowly walked out of Su Zhetian's starship. The leader was Huang Jia, who had destroyed Night Demon and Menghe. Su Zhetian didn't appear. After walking to the deck, Huang Jia said with a fake smile, Night Demon. Our senior brother Su invites you to Heaven Breaking Star. Come with us. When he said this, his face clearly showed that he was harboring evil intentions. Who is senior brother Su? I'm sorry, I don't know him. I'm not going. After Huang Jia said this, Night Sorrow replied coldly. At the same time, He used the sea serpent's eye to observe the few cultivators in front of him. Their auras were slightly weaker than Huang Jie's. However, they were stronger than Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. He immediately understood how powerful Su Zhiqian was. He thought to himself, these must be Su Zhiqian's subordinates. They're stronger than Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. They're really not simple. Hearing this, Huang Jia was immediately angry. How dare you? Su Zhiqian, senior brother Su. Who doesn't know him in the endless sea of stars? Are you purposely saying this to humiliate him? When the others heard Night Sorrow's words, they also glared angrily. It was as if Night Sorrow didn't know Su Zhiqian and had made a big mistake. So what if I humiliate him? So what if I don't humiliate him? Facing Huang Jia and the others, Night Sorrow continued to respond disdainfully. The other party inviting him to Sky-Breaking Star was definitely up to no good. Naturally, there was no need for him to smile. Moreover, Huang Jia had destroyed Night Demon and Meng He and Qing Xian. He had long wanted to attack him. You're courting death. Brothers, if he doesn't respect senior brother Su, let's take him down. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't care about Su Zhiqian's face at all, Huang Jia was immediately angry. This guy dares to be so presumptuous after hearing Master's name. He really needs to be taught a lesson. Let's go. After Huang Jia finished speaking, the other cultivators discussed for a while and immediately attacked Night Sorrow. Have you never died before? Do you want to try it today? Seeing that Huang Jia and the other cultivators had all attacked, Night Sorrow shouted disdainfully. From their actions, he could tell that they were used to being unreasonable. Die? There's only one person who will die today, and that's you. This time, before Huang Jia could speak, one of Su Zhiqian's subordinates mocked Night Sorrow. Is that so? Then let's try it. Let's see if my life as a Star Master is worth more than your life as a servant. Hearing this, Night Sorrow took out his golden heavenly halberd and activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the destruction divine ability. He also activated the green phoenix battle armor. If he were to fight Huang Jia alone, he wouldn't feel any pressure. However, with the addition of a few powerful upper heavenly sovereigns, with his current strength, it wouldn't be easy to deal with them. Therefore, he didn't dare to be careless. Star Master? Do you think you're so great just because you're a Star Master? Today, we'll make you kneel in front of us and beg for mercy. One of Su Zhiqian's servants mocked disdainfully before attacking. You won't have the chance. Night Sorrow snorted coldly. After the other party attacked, he used the mysterious azure godly spear art and fought with them. At this moment, Dancing Lady transmitted her voice to Night Sorrow. Are you confident in dealing with them? I don't think I'll lose. You're injured. Just rest well. Night Sorrow immediately replied. He was grateful for Dancing Lady's words. All right. If you can't deal with them, summon me. I can at least share some of your burden. Dancing Lady continued. Chapter 33-37. There were too many enemies in front of them. Whirling Lady was afraid that Night Sorrow would not be able to hold on after a battle. Whirling Lady, thank you. These people are not weak, but as long as they can't injure me, they have no chance of winning. Don't worry. Yi Shan replied to Dancing Woman and then started fighting with the others in the sky. Su Zhiqian's servants cooperated very well. While Huang Jia was restraining Night Sorrow, they were responsible for breaking through from all sides. They wanted to break Night Sorrow's defense. However, with their attacks, they were still a little lacking. After a stalemate, Huang Jia transmitted his voice to them. This guy's recovery ability is very strong. It's not good for us if we continue to wear him down. Everyone, think of a way to restrain him. When he was watching Night Sorrow's battle with Meng He and Zhu Qingxian, he realized that Night Sorrow had an extremely strong recovery ability. Then we can only use Master Star Ruin's web. If we control the Star Ruin's web, we might be able to trap him. One of Su Zhetian's servants replied to Huang Jie. All right. Then I'll use a strong attack to restrain him. Use the Star Ruins web. When Huang Jie heard this, a trace of viciousness flashed across his face. He took out a jade bottle from his space and splashed about a basin of water at Night Sorrow. This water was very strange. After it was splashed out, it immediately turned into the shape of an arrow in the air. It shot towards Night Sorrow, who was in the middle of the battle. The attack of a half-step Supreme Realm first stage. Not simple. When this water arrow was shot over, it carried an extremely strong aura. It was completely stronger than Huang Jie's attack. When this arrow was shot, Night Sorrow was dealing with the siege of Su Zhetian's servants. Su Zhetian's servants did not use any spells in battle. They all surrounded him and fought hand to hand. Although this attack was limited in strength, it was very troublesome. It made Night Sorrow uncomfortable to fight. When the water arrow shot by Huang Jie came close, Night Sorrow immediately chose to use the defiant 9 steps to dodge. He pulled away from the water arrow. However, the water arrow had already locked onto him. While Night Sorrow was dodging, the water arrow quickly chased after him. It formed a beam of white light in the air. After dodging a few attacks, Night Sorrow immediately pulled away from Su Zhetian's subordinates, facing Baron Thorn's water arrow alone. At this moment, Night Sorrow used the Divine Essence trapping array to pull apart the distance. Then, he used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to unleash the Divine Spear. A beam of light blasted out. After this ray of light collided with the water arrow, it immediately disappeared into the void. At the same time, Baron Thorn's bottle suspended in the air once again shot out an identical water arrow. Baron Thorn's bottle is a pretty good artifact. Seeing Baron Thorn shoot out another water arrow, Night Sorrow couldn't help but praise. But right at this moment, a sense of danger suddenly flashed through his heart. Looking up, it was Su Zhetian's subordinates who had summoned a net with a strange aura. After this net appeared, they would jointly control it and cover Night Sorrow. Obviously, when Night Sorrow was dealing with the water arrow, Su Zhetian's subordinates had summoned this Star Ruins net. Be careful. This net is Su Zhetian's Star Ruins net. If you are covered by it, you will enter a Star Ruins world. You can't get out of there. Seeing the Star Ruins net descending from the sky, Jia Lin, who was in the space grotto heaven, immediately warned. Star Ruins net? Such a divine artifact? Facing the Star Ruins net descending from the sky, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and sent a voice transmission to the Eternal Divine Tower. Shoot the lava we took from the ancient ruins at the Star Ruins net. All right. Should we leave some or shoot all of it out? Little Five immediately asked. Use all of it. No matter what, we can't let this net be sucked in. As Night Sorrow spoke, he continuously struck out more than 40 words into the void. These words glowed brightly in the void, and then gradually blossomed with their effects. Some of them buffed Night Sorrow and some of them shot at the enemies to reduce their speed. What's the use of these fancy moves? Seeing Night Sorrow strike out these words, Huang Jie said disdainfully while resisting. At the same time, he locked his gaze on the Star Ruins net and said, "Prepare to die here. You think too much. Little Five, do it." The moment the Star Ruins net descended, Night Sorrow ordered Little Five to shoot out the lava they had collected. At the same time, he used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to strike with Inferno Demon. The flames that filled the sky were mixed with the Phoenix Fire and Yujia Fire, as well as the Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal. Together with the lava shot out from the Eternal Divine Tower, they shot towards the descending Star Ruins net. Humph. You overestimate yourself. The Star Ruins net is not something you can burn with your flames. Seeing that Night Sorrow did not dodge, they shot out a spear that was mixed with flames. He did not try to dodge. Su Zhetian's subordinates immediately smiled mockingly. However, their smiles did not last long before they were completely frozen on their faces. This was because they saw with their own eyes that the Star Ruins net was burned to the ground by the flames from Night Sorrow and the Eternal Divine Tower. Impossible. How is this possible? This is a half-step Supreme Class Divine Artifact. How are we going to explain this to Master? Seeing that the Star Ruins net had been burned to the ground, Suzhitian's subordinates immediately went crazy. This was Suzhitian's divine artifact, and now it had been destroyed just like that. They could not afford to pay for this loss. Is this the so-called Star Ruins net? I think it's just a so-so. At this moment, Night Sorrow roared and attacked with the golden heavenly halberd, shattering the water arrows shot by Huang Jie. Then, he charged towards Huang Jie with great momentum. Once again, he fought with them. Meanwhile, the bottle that Huang Jie had hit stopped after shooting out 3 water arrows. Night Sorrow and Huang Jie's subordinates gradually entered a stalemate. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow's divine origin energy was basically not depleted and his injuries were also recovering. Not long after the battle, Huang Jie and Suzhitian's subordinates could not hold on any longer. Suzhitian's subordinates began to be killed one after another. Oh no! We are no match for him. We need to invite senior brother Su here. Hurry up and invite him. Under such circumstances, Huang Jie immediately sent a voice transmission to Suzhitian's subordinates. Senior brother Huang Jie, don't panic. There is a teleportation formation to the starship on planet Chitian. Master will be here soon. A cultivator who had already sent a voice transmission to Suzhitian immediately replied. When the Star Ruins net was destroyed, he had already sent a voice transmission and received a response from Suzhitian. When he heard that the Star Ruins net was destroyed, Suzhitian exploded with anger. While cursing this cultivator, he rushed towards the teleportation formation in the palace and prepared to be teleported to the starship as soon as possible. Once senior brother Su is here, he won't be able to jump around anymore. When he heard that Suzhitian was coming, Huang Jie immediately became strong-willed again. How dare you let your imagination run wild when you are fighting with me? At this moment, Night Sorrow seized the opportunity to attack Huang Jie with Nirvana Heart Fire. Chapter 33-38. Huang Jie, who heard that Suzhitian was about to descend, was obviously too careless. When Night Sorrow used the Nirvana Flame, he also used the Divine Essence Trapping Array to lock him down. This way, when Huang Jie reacted, there was no way he could dodge. The moment Suzhitian descended, Huang Jie was also severely injured by Night Sorrow's Divine Essence attack and was sent flying horizontally in the void. Trash is trash. With so many people, you can't even subdue a lower heavenly sovereign. After Suzhitian descended, he saw the situation and immediately became angry. Master. It's my incompetence. Seeing that Suzhitian was angry, his remaining subordinates immediately knelt in the void. Huang Jie, who was sent flying horizontally, wanted to say something but felt that his divine essence was almost out of control. He couldn't say anything. After flying for a long time, he gradually stabilized his body. At the same time, many pirate skulls flew from the void and attacked Huang Jie. Huang Jie, whose divine essence was injured, immediately cried for help. Senior brother Su, save me. Go save that trash, he's still useful. Suzhitian glanced at Huang Jie, who was surrounded by pirate skulls, and said unhappily to his subordinates. Yes. Suzhitian's remaining subordinates immediately went to help Huang Jie fight against the pirate skulls. At this moment, Suzhitian looked at Night Sorrow and said, the endless star ocean is not some other place. Here, you're a dragon coiling up, a tiger nesting in its nest. Don't you understand this principle? You and I are both star masters. In front of me, you have no right to preach. Night Sorrow faced Suzhitian and said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Suzhitian wasn't even a friend, he felt that there was no need to put on a smiling face. Oh. Interesting. You're very interesting, you ant. Hearing Knight Soro's words, Su Zetian laughed instead of being angry. I want to see if you'll still have this attitude after I teach you a lesson. As soon as he finished speaking, he threw a punch at Knight Soro. This punch looked ordinary, but it was one of Su Zetian's ultimate skills. Star Ruins Fist. Just like the Star Ruins network, he obtained it from the endless Star Ruins. On the surface, it looked like Su Zetian had only thrown out a single punch. However, in Yi Shang's eyes, it was as if thousands of stars were crashing down towards him. A second-stage half-step Supreme Realm Cultivator, his strength. When Su Zetian attacked him, he could feel the difference between him and an ordinary half-step Supreme Realm Cultivator. Su Zetian's strength was Su's strength. After observing with the Sea Serpent's eye, Knight Soro discovered that none of the stars that fell from the sky were fake. They were all attacks was to Su Zetian. Therefore, he continuously to block to defend himself, to block to block to block to. It was as if he could shatter a star with a single move. Su was completely to bees. To a Zetian was to stop. Su's was to him a sorrow. When the Star Ruins fist was completely annihilated, Knight Soro couldn't help but gasp for breath. He's to block it. Seems like I've underestimated you. Su Zetian felt embarrassed when he saw that Knight Soro had blocked his Star Ruins fist. He immediately took out a spear that shone with starlight. He sneered and said, "Once my Void Star Spear is unleashed, there is no time where it doesn't bleed. You're the one who asked for it. Master is mighty." The cultivators who were helping Desolate Thorn fight against the pirate skeletons immediately complimented Su Zetian when they saw him take out his Star Ruin spear. What's there to be mighty about? Seems like you've been living in flattery. What's the point of that? Su Zetian's Star Ruin spear was of decent quality, but Knight Soro felt that it was similar to the Golden Heavenly Halberd. Both were first-stage half-step Supreme Realm, so he did not think much of it. When he heard this, Su Zetian replied icily, "Being complimented is also a form of proof of one's strength. Do you need me to teach you that?" As soon as he said that, he used his Star Ruin spear and fired an extremely powerful shot at Knight Soro. The speed and power of the shot was something that Knight Soro had never seen before. What a powerful move. Knight Soro used the ancient coffin to block it. Little Five, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, reminded Knight Soro when she saw how powerful Su Zetian's attack was. Knight Soro pondered for a moment and said, "The ancient coffin's seal has loosened. I don't know what the consequences will be if I use it here." "Don't use it. How are you going to block it? If you take it head-on, you'll be severely injured." Little Five continued to transmit her voice to Knight Soro. Their communication was extremely fast. It was a matter of a single thought. "I have a way to block it." Suddenly, Knight Soro had an idea. He took out the Desolation Halberd that was sealed by Supremacy Leaken and blocked Su Zetian's spear light. Boom! Su Zetian's spear light landed on the Desolation Halberd. It did not break the seal on it at all. It was annihilated in the void. What? This night demon can block Senior Brother Su's full force attack. Huang Jia, who was fighting against the pirate skull, saw Knight Soro block Su Zetian's attack unscathed. He was astonished. Some of the cultivators who were also fighting against the pirate's skull were even more shocked than Huang Jia. They did not expect Knight Soro to be able to block Su Zetian's full force attack. Your divine weapon was sealed by the Supreme Honorable. Su Zetian realized that Knight Soro's halberd was different from the others and made his own judgment. After realizing this, he felt a little better and did not feel embarrassed. "I don't know what you're talking about." Knight Soro naturally would not admit to the Supreme Honorable. As he denied it, he was already thinking about the next battle. Su Zetian thought to himself, "This night demon is only a lower heavenly sovereign, but he has the strength of a first-grade half-step to the Supreme Honorable. And he has a divine weapon that was sealed by the Supreme Honorable. Maybe he has something to do with the three principles. If I kill him directly, it may cause unnecessary trouble." After thinking for a while, he looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "Since you have something to do with the Supreme Honorable today, I'll give the Supreme Honorable some face. As long as you can block my attack, Su Zetian will let you go. He's really a cautious person. He's afraid of offending someone he shouldn't offend, so he's giving himself a way out." Knight Sorrow looked at Su Zetian and thought to himself. He said, "Why should I block your attack for no reason? Bastard. I'm already giving you a way out by doing this. You don't want to give me face." Hearing Yi Shang's words, Su Zetian was instantly enraged. He sneered, "You have to block my attack whether you want to or not." Then, he used the Star Ruin Spear to attack again. This attack was stronger than the previous one because he had used a unique skill. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.